Hello and welcome to the 68th episode of the Destiny Community Podcast, brought to you by Skull Gaming Controllers. And this week, I think the biggest piece of news is that we are one episode away from episode 69.
69.
Yes, truly monumental occasion that
I don't get it. What's that mean?
Neither do I. We just said it a lot in high school and thought it was funny.
It's a milestone.
Wait, you don't know it? For real?
It's a milestone in any relationship, to be honest.
It's an IGN rating. IGN
like,
6
it
out
was
of
the
9,
model.
obviously.
It was the national speed limit that was introduced in the U.S. at some point, right? You couldn't go above it.
It's the price of the new Nintendo thing. What is it? The cardboard box crap? What the hell is that thing called? I don't know what is a meme versus the real product anymore on Twitter. When I see it, I'm like, is this? I don't know what's going on.
Well, I can tell you what's going on with our guest.
Why does it have a 5-inch ruler
week
on it?
Our guest this week is Faysal Mekki. How are you, sir?
I am very, very good this evening.
Now,
early morning, my time.
Yes, I wanted to thank you for coming on. I realize every time we do one of these shows with a guest that's international, you guys are up at some wicked times. So, what time is it over there?
It's 2 a.m.
2 a.m. Well, thank you very much for coming on. It means
seriously.
a lot to us.
No, thank you.
For those in the audience who don't know who you are, you've been very involved with the Destiny art community, the artists that have sprung up around this game that we play, and you helped to found a group, right? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so essentially, there's the special thing I find with the Destiny community is there's a lot of incredible artists. So it's like a lot, like it's more than you can count. But there's not, there's not a real central place for them to hang out, to communicate. And so we sort of came up with this Discord and a Twitter group that basically showcases all the incredible talent there is. And so, yeah, that's essentially it's called Destiny Community Artists, and it's a special little place for all the artists to get together, learn, collaborate, and also promote, because there's so much talent out there that's not really known, and so it's we're sort of using that platform to get everyone out there.
I got a question. So, in terms of other gaming communities and art communities and so on and so forth, what makes the Destiny art community different? Because it sounds like it's not like that with other games.
Yeah, it's really, really weird. It's I've never seen a gaming community that's this passionate. In a lot of ways, it's bizarre. I've never seen so much collaborative love between people, especially the creatives. So not just the artists, designers as well. Like everyone just wants to. Everyone's really interested in each other's work, and because there's this, like, already within Destiny, there's so much amazing art. To see people create their own art and their own canon, the whole different. It's just really good to see. Yeah, and people love doing it.
Creating their world.
And there's a lot of talent.
Creating their world inside of the Destiny world at the same time, or merging multiple worlds together. Yeah,
a lot of the time you find fan art it looks just like the game art. Like the quality of it is as if there's people who should be working at Bungie. It's crazy.
Absolutely, yeah.
What I really have appreciated is within your enclave of artists that have come together and that spirit of collaboration, there's been lots of teamwork or projects that they've come together on, and very talented artists doing multiple stages in these complex pieces of art and producing things that are collectively so beautiful. How is that like sense of collaboration promoted within your group?
Yeah, so every time there's a few people get together to do something, we always tend to promote it. There was one occasion where I actually came up with this idea where we got every single person in the art community to draw their own Guardian and to collect it into one piece, and we had over like 50, 60 different pieces, and it was way over like a few months of work, and we just put it together, and then we shared it on Bungie, on Twitter, and also Bungie Creations, and it just got featured like within 5 minutes of posting it.
That's cool.
So it was crazy how much Bungie love and promote the creativity in their community, and that, I mean, despite of all the flaws in the game and how whatever the communication issues there are, they love the community's creativity, and that's the one thing I find that makes this one stand out than any other game community. So that's really, really good.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about the kind of art you do, because you're not only are you one of the sort of organizers of this group and stoke this collaboration, but you yourself draw or do Destiny art. What's your medium?
Yeah, so initially my first medium is just sketching, so on paper. And then what I've done is I've started doing more and more work with the graphics tablet. So using a Wacom, which is essentially like a little device where you can draw straight onto it and it just puts it straight on your PC. So you're controlling it like a mouse, but using a pen. So there's the digital art there, and I've also I do quite a lot of sort of t-shirt designs and other graphics work for streamers as well. So that's where, I mean, the first major projects I've worked on was actually with My Name Is Bife on some of his lore videos. So I did quite a lot of work with on his lore projects. I got that going, and then from there I just started doing more and more work with streamers and various different brandings, emotes, and all of that kind of stuff.
Nice.
What's a t-shirt that you worked for that has stood out for you that for any of the content creators?
I think the ones that are most known are the ones for Destiny Fun Police.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
So it's like kind of wearing one of them now. It's the No Fun Allowed one. Yeah. So I've done quite a bit of film. I've done some for Fallout plays. I did some for MTashed, Husky Raid as well. There's quite a few floating about that I've worked on.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's good. It's really
Do you
good.
guys have like animators in the DCA?
Yeah. I mean, one of the I think most people have seen his work, but do you know someone called Matt Oishi?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he does a lot of like 3D animation.
So he's done a lot of so he's one of the most talented 3D animators I know. 2D animators, I know Carly Cartoons. Really, really good 2D. But most of the artists we do mostly sort of like just normal painting and sketches, sketch work.
Stills, 2D stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of 3D floating about, but it's definitely an up and coming medium.
Yes,
that's awesome. And so, where do you see? Do you still see? Well, a lot of people are in the community, like groups are struggling to stay together, and the population of the game has sort of dipped. Have you seen a lot of content creators are maybe trying other games? Have you seen the same thing happening within the art community?
Yeah, I think the only reason why is because it's the canon that's kind of changed. Because we don't know. Because I mean, with Destiny 1, it had such a rich lore. So with Destiny 2, there's no continuation of it. So that's the only thing that's kind of hindered the creation.
The inspiration,
side.
Piece of it.
It's because everything feels a little bit stripped back when it comes to the lore on it. So that's definitely hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
But in general,
it seems to be
that much,
it seems to be one of those things that Destiny 1 had this ability to kind of create this canvas where you could imagine the pieces that would go in the canvas with it. And that was what was really special with it. And that's definitely missing in Destiny 2.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had the Grimoire, which is the equivalent of, you have a D&D campaign that you're just sitting there imagining. You have all this text and stuff that you've written down, but there's just no art for it. But here in D2, it's not.
I feel like they could have done that though in D2 also. They could have had that same type of canvas set up in it, but they just didn't. They didn't have any effort towards that. Well, I guess it kind of is. It's like if you go into the weapons and the armor that's special or however, like there's exotic and then there's certain legendary ones, you can actually pull lore out of those as well.
Lore tab, yeah.
But that's super hidden and also requires you to have not thrown out that piece of gear because you're out of space.
I kind of feel like one of the highlights for me, design wise, with Destiny 1 was the Iron Lords. So the whole Rise of Iron expansion and the lore that came with it, and within Destiny 2, it kind of feels like that as if it never took place. It's kind of, if you played the first game, Saladin does, he does refer to you as Young Wolf in the opening mission, but that's about it. Otherwise, it does kind of feel like that never took place. A whole Rise of Iron expansion as if it never happened. So that's definitely something I wish they'll bring it back. They'll either bring back or address.
God, I wish they would. Just as a side note, I wish they had some way to like at least link the fact that, hey, you played D1, and like link that to your account if you were on PC. Because I want that, veteran lore. I'll need to take and explain to me. I experienced them on the Cosmodrome for like 3 years, man. We're good.
We're good.
No, they're sitting on a whole rich foundation and base of history that they can pull back. So hopefully, little bit by bit, they'll bring everything back. Build up.
Is there a piece that you're working on right now, or something that's inspired you to draw right now?
Right now, I'm working on something that's inspired by sort of monks. So it's kind of how to describe it. It's if you think of Far East Asia. So I'm working on a little piece that's sort of combining a little bit of Overwatch fan art as well with Destiny.
Okay.
So it's kind of think Zenyatta as a hunter.
Okay.
So it's gonna be interesting.
Cool.
But I'm also working on a really good piece of my Titan, because that's who I main. The striker Titan first and foremost.
Good man.
That being said, dude, I'm really, really hurt by the fact that there's no shoulder charge anymore.
Same.
I mean, it's there. It's on a cooldown.
It's wet
I
noodle
wouldn't
charge.
charge as so much as a stumble forward.
Yeah.
It's a shoulder nudge. It's a shoulder nudge.
It's like a shoulder letdown. You're like,
I figured it out.
It's a shoulder lean.
No, thematically, like we Titan shoulder charge too much in Destiny 1, so then like they got arthritis or like just their shoulders destroyed. So by the time D2 comes around, they can only do like a slight little shoulder check, or else it'll just.
We fell off the tower. There's been some adjustments that have needed to be made. I mean, we've
Are there no chiropractors in the tower? Like
all I'm saying is that you fall from that height, you're gonna throw you're gonna hurt your shoulder.
you telling me my ghost can't fix that?
The Cabal attacked was the chiropractors. That was their long con game.
Wow, the long con.
Just wipe us out, hurt us, take out the chiropractors. So now we're hurt indefinitely.
Yep.
Their goal was to bleed us dry with medical bills.
Yeah. After losing shoulder charge, I actually have permanently moved to the bottom tree now. So I don't have it.
I have to.
Because when I remind myself of how bad shoulder charge is, I immediately go, "Aw." So if I just can't do it, then I don't think about it. But then it also has the benefit of having just an insanely long super when there's a bunch of ads.
Yeah, the super is better, I think, and also the getting your health back when you use the melee.
Yeah, that's both
really
good.
nice.
Yep.
It's got really shades of Devour. It's not as good as Devour, but
no,
I find especially in PvP. It could get you ready for that next fight, and that's really,
you don't
really
want
fun.
a Titan to have a melee better than a Warlock. We've already established that.
No.
God no,
Craziness.
God forbid that.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you very much, Mekki, for coming on. We're going to be talking more about the Destiny art and lore as we, have this conversation today about the THWAB.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And we've come to an agreement.
Yes, we have.
We have come to agreement. Everybody in chat, this is an important moment. Patrick and I have come to an accord.
Yes.
This
is rare. This doesn't happen often.
This is rare. For centuries, I have noted that this week at Bungie is pronounced as a THWAB.
It is pronounced THWAB.
He has said that it's been TWAB. So that's where we will never agree. But today, before the show, we came to an accord. When this week at Bungie, I don't know, what do you want to say?
Is bad.
Okay. When not bad, just when it is very underwhelming and doesn't.
When this week at Bungie is underwhelming or sucks balls, that we will call
your words.
What's one way of putting it?
That is one way to put it. Anyway,
unfavorable TWAB.
When it's unfavorable, then
When
it's
Pope
going to
gets
be
on the Skype call and is in a rage of fury because of the THWAB, we will call it the THWAB.
It's officially a THWAB.
We feel like they are communicating to us in a positive way, and we're moving forward, and we are going to call it TWAB. So this week, everybody on the podcast needs to, or that believes as I do, would refer to it as the Patrick.
I still refuse to say that word.
You have to say it. This is the
Whoa,
Accord.
you got to commit to this.
Wow, Pat.
No.
Patty,
That's not an
agree
accord.
that your way of pronouncing it is the correct way for this week in particular, and for other weeks
Are a
of very.
spineless twat.
Yes, sure. But yeah, we'll say this week. Okay, I'll do it once. The THWAB.
Thank you. Somebody
go.
clip that.
God damn it.
Before we talk about the THWAB, though, we
Remix
got to
it.
talk a little bit about the faction rally, right? I mean,
Yeah,
there's been a
let's
ton. There's been a ton of talk about the faction rally
Yes.
this week. There's been some good. There's been some bad. There's been a lot of talk about it. That's for sure. So the faction rally hit this week. It's the newly revised faction rally. It was delayed. There was no faction rally in December because of the fact that the community got really upset that if you did not buy Curse of Osiris, you no longer had access to faction rally. So Bungie trying to rectify that mistake, as they put it. I believe they said it was a mistake. I'm not exactly sure on the wording. They delayed it a week, or they delayed it a month. They released it this week, and there were some surprises in there for us. One of them was that if you did 2 lost sectors rapidly, you'd get kind of knocked with a 10-minute cooldown, in which you could no longer do or you could no longer get rewards from lost sectors. So you had to greatly slow down your lost sector farming.
Mm-hmm.
I have a rather unpopular opinion about that one, but we can keep continuing.
Okay. The next surprise, I think a lot of people were surprised that while there are new weapons for Season 2's Faction Rally, they're kind of locked. They're going to be kind of given out at a slow rate. So this week,
Yes.
Depending on which faction wins the Faction Rally, you'll be able to buy one of the brand new auto rifles. Next week, that auto rifle, all the auto rifles that are up for winning this week will be in the loot pool next month for the Faction Rally next month. Plus, another weapon will be winnable. And then after that, all 5 weapons, there will be 1 that's winnable, and I believe 4 that are added to the loot pool. Is that right? Is that how you guys read that?
Yeah. It's going to be progression system. Yeah.
Basically, by the last faction rally of this season, you'll be able to just grind the weapons and get them from packages. But
Yeah.
See,
You
what's
won't be able
confusing
to
about that,
up until
though,
then.
is it sounds like this season is going to last till June or something.
yeah,
No, 3 months. The way I understand.
Well, that means we only
is-
have 1 more faction rally.
No, 3 faction rallies total, so 2 more in addition to the one we're in right now.
So that would put, but season started on December.
Yeah.
So December, January, February, that technically we should have season 3 starting in March.
Well, I agree with you, but the way they worded it, it sounded like there's going to be 3 total faction rallies in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
This one, the next one, and the one after that. So it'll be January, February, and
So
March.
April. Oh, sorry.
No,
Yeah.
January, February, and March.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people were pretty upset that not only were there, people were upset that there was only 1 new weapon that was available per.
It was a miscommunication issue, and they pointed that out. They, Chris Barrett got on Twitter and said that they will do better in the future of communicating those kind of changes prior to the event releasing. That they're going to work on communicating that better. I sincerely hope they do outline everything that is coming out for Iron Banner before it comes out, so we don't replicate this.
Yeah, that would be good. I was really looking forward to new weapons, honestly. I was looking forward to trying out some new stuff in the loophole, even though it's, again, reskins along with perks that we're already aware of that are just a refactoring of the same loot. it's still something to go after and chase that isn't just cosmetic. And not having it in there was definitely a letdown for me.
Yeah, I think that sentiment is shared across almost the entire community.
Yeah.
Is that we were hoping for new weapons. I will say that the ornament system has kind of given me a drive that I didn't expect for purely cosmetic items. As I am fairly motivated because of how good they look. Even the Dead Orbit one, which I know, Dead Orbit. But here I am grinding my Titan on Dead Orbit.
Space hobo.
Not even edgelord. You're just a space hobo.
You've now been kicked out of your parents' basement. You are living on the streets.
I mean, communication aside, they definitely should have communicated that. And I'm not forgiving Bungie for not communicating. I'm done forgiving them for not communicating. Right? Like, give me a fucking break. Like last week was all about communicating, and here we are sitting in the same fucking seat again. Like, are you shitting me? But I will say that for me, the faction rally has been successful in giving me something to grind for the week. I won't be able to get, obviously, all of the ornaments for all of the characters. Well, I will be able to get all the ornaments for all the characters, but I won't be able to get all the armor for all the characters. So when the next faction rally comes along, I'll be looking forward to that. And then looking forward to the third one, because I do want to get all the sets for all of my characters, because I do like the sets.
I do like the way that they've changed the way that we're going to approach getting armor and the what you can do to the little mini things you can do to get the ornaments. I'm enjoying the faction rally. It's just difficult to walk into it thinking you're seeing one thing that you're going to go in there and grind for these guns and then not get it. But there is other things that you can go in there and do and be part of and do activities for.
Also on PC, because I am a PC player at this point, primarily, almost exclusively, I don't have any of the guns from the faction rally. I have very few of them. I've gotten a few from like random packages, but the last faction rally was overly punitive. It was very hard to grind weapons, even with the system that was in, or the accidental system of being able to basically do a loot cave.
Yep.
Even with that, I found it very punitive. I could not get the weapons I wanted, so I am still looking for weapons like the Dire Promise.
Oh, you still don't have that?
Yeah.
No. Hey, man, I'm telling you, Cade's treasure chest, you just do those every week. You'll eventually.
I do those every week.
Man, your RNG sucks. Get good, dude.
Do you have the Midnight Coup?
I know. I'm trying to get good, but it's very, very difficult to get good.
Do you have the Midnight Coup?
I understand that.
I have the Midnight Coup.
You're not missing anything.
Let's use that.
That's true.
I also have Midnight Coup now, so I'm feeling pretty
Congratulations.
Is it a masterwork?
Yes.
What's the
what do you have on it?
What's the perk on it?
Magazine size.
Not reload.
Everybody knows it's not the magazine
It doesn't
size.
need reload. It's got outlaw on it.
Absolutely. You stack that with the fitting aspects. It's beautiful.
Outlaw is good, but
outlaw on it.
No.
dude, I've re-rolled mine I think 6 times, and I keep switching between magazine size and handling speed or handling. I cannot get fucking reload on.
Plus,
mine.
you only get like a bullet with that.
Yeah, it's 1 bullet.
Yeah.
But still, it's 1 extra bullet. Wouldn't you like to have an extra bullet in the chamber?
I would. With outlaw?
There's a change that happened also with this faction rally. We're now seeing ships and sparrows.
Yeah. I actually think this is a significant change, because this is a pullback on the Eververse only
It is
ship and ghost and sparrow policy that was previous. Right?
So we're starting to see some of those changes of how they're going to distribute loot that was traditionally held behind that paywall and or through the rank up system, and we're seeing it in gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
On the opposite side of that, the Eververse is selling the ghost that everybody wants this week.
My God, the timing of that was so bad. Can you believe that, Tefty? Did you see what ghost they're selling?
The faction ghost.
It's the faction.
It literally gives you more fucking faction tokens.
I mean, oh my God! Can you stop shooting yourself in the foot? Ay. Anyway,
do you think that was
a tough
random?
pill to swallow.
I don't know, man. At worst, it's a misstep. Well, At best, it's a misstep. At worst, it's ineptitude.
I didn't even know until chat pointed it out to me, and it's just I'm so done with looking at Eververse stuff that it just doesn't even.
And it's like 3,000. Like it is expensive.
Right?
It is expensive. It's like, what is it, 3,200? I forget. I don't even know. It's like somewhere.
The ghosts are very expensive for Bright Dust.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my crap, dude. That would have been the perfect opportunity to take that ghost and put it in some sort of faction, activity. Like the first, you complete all the ornaments. You get a full set of the faction armor. Yeah, and you put it on your character, and you get it as a reward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that would have been dope.
That would have been amazing.
Oh my god! But let's put it for sale.
It's literally pay to win. Like you pay for it and you win more shit.
You win more of the end game, which is tokens.
Saying that shit back at the start when I saw
the optics of that is just horrendous. It's just, and then
that's really bad.
Yeah. So I did want to talk about the chest lockout on lost sectors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is a really huge thing, and I totally agree that throttling our rewards in the game just really shouldn't be a thing, especially when the game's like in-game content is basically about farming tokens and playing a slot machine for them. I can understand you putting those throttles inhibitors on activities like that specific lost sector that was farming. Maybe make it like a minute or two lockout. So you're only getting. It
wouldn't be more than less than 3 to 2 minutes. All of that would have been needed.
Yeah,
10 minutes is awful.
It's awful.
Yeah, awful.
It's ridiculous.
Like even if you just do lost sectors normally, like if you go to Trossland. And there's 3 lost sectors in very close proximity to each other. If you just go do those, you'll hit that lockout. Just naturally doing lost sectors.
Even if you do a lost sector, then a public event, then a lost sector, it's very possible that you've done those within 10 minutes and you get the lockout.
Yeah.
It happens. I don't understand why it's 10 minutes. Like that just is ridiculous. I understand the problem, right? I agree without a doubt that they needed to fix that one lost farm. Sector, right? That one farm, without a doubt.
Yep.
Because it kind of forced players, me included, to use it because it's just like, well, why am I going to waste my time, doing it the right way when I can just do it the fast way, right?
Yeah.
So you got to fix that. But
it's the same reason for the loot cave.
Why the 10 minutes? It's just so punitive. It's unbelievable.
Seems like a random number that was like, well, I guess 10 minutes. All right.
Or how about just lock the fucking door? And
Mekki, did you get a chance to do? Did you get a chance to do the faction rally when there was the loot lost sector farming?
Yeah. So when I was playing it, I didn't get any loot from the lost sector at all. I didn't realize I wasn't getting anything. I did it like once, and then the second time there was just nothing.
Oh, so this time.
It was
this time. This time. But did you take advantage of the exploit or the of it last time?
No. Well, I was playing it normally. I wasn't particularly grinding for it. I was just getting it normally.
Right.
But this time it just feels like there's no point doing lost sector at all because you're not going to get anything.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like lost sectors normally.
Well, hold on now, because if you pledge that orbit, you actually have to do 15 of those fuckers to get the armor ornament.
Yeah.
So they're forcing you to farm lost sectors and then penalizing you for doing what they're forcing you to do.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. I'm not making this shit up, Pope. You think I'm just spouting shit because it's funny?
Sometimes I think you do.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes I do.
But in this case, it was baffling, and I understand that there are other activities that are rewarding and you can go do, and lost sectors aren't the only way. There's a lot of fun ways of playing the game and getting faction rally tokens, but I think fundamentally it's, if somebody wants to play lost sectors over and over again, that's their right. That's what they should be allowed to do. I understand fixing it, like we said, but the mistake of having it a 10-minute punitive thing is silly.
It's so random to lock it out that much time. Doesn't make any
silly.
sense at all.
And so, I understand it was a misstep and they're gonna reset it, but the timing of that, they're not gonna reset it until next.
See, that's the problem, Pope. Like, they need to be on top of this stuff the next day. Be like, oh, it wasn't meant to be 10 minutes. It meant to be 1 minute. Somebody moved the decimal or something like that. Let's just patch that real fast.
Remember them move the decimal?
Yeah, so just get it into the system right away so we don't have to deal with that. But instead, they're like, well, we're dealing with the 10-minute lockout till next time. Sorry, guys. There's no way we can crack that open and send out a patch. No other game company in the history of gaming does that quick. It just doesn't exist, guys. I'm sorry.
I will say, though, the community reaction to this has been a little crazy. Like, this is...
There's a snowball effect happening right now, Briar.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Anything negative, no matter how small, is going to add velocity and strength to that snowball, because it is heading downhill right now, and it has gathered steam.
Yeah.
And there's people that are legitimately feel like it's...
I just want to say, though, like, coming off of the Dawning event, which was... It was awful. I'll just go ahead and say it was just terrible. Like, the whole event was just completely designed around the Eververse, and it showed, and it was completely toxic to players. Like, it just felt terrible, right? It was hard to be a Destiny fan during the Dawning event.
Mm-hmm.
The Faction Rally, I think, is a much better event to be a part of. It lasts a week. I think the brevity of it is actually a good thing, because, it forces you to play for a week, or it gives you something to do for a week that is timed out, so it kind of keeps you coming back day after day. I like the way the rewards are doled out. I know that people have a problem with the guns not being there, but I do feel like I'm getting rewarded more often.
Mm-hmm.
I have a way to buy armor if RNG fucks me, which we all know it's gonna. So I like that a lot, because I just can't get good, Patrick. It's hard.
I know.
And I like that. I like the way that now I can. Okay, I didn't get the helmet. Damn it! I can go buy the helmet. Right? I've spent 10 packages. I didn't get the helmet. I can buy the helmet now.
Yeah.
I like the fact that there are now ways to go out. They've given us the ornaments, and there's now things to do associated with the Faction Rally, so I can go out and earn those ornaments, because the ornaments make that armor look even better. In a lot of cases. I think actually in all 3 cases. So like in most ways, I actually think the Faction Rally has made a huge jump up in quality over the previous Faction Rallies. And I'm actually really impressed with it. I actually really enjoy being in it. And when you compare it to what we were doing 2 weeks ago in the Dawning event, I'm actually really pleased with they're making
significant progress in the way that we receive and the things we can do in events. And that's great for what we see for the future. It's difficult as a content creator or someone in the community that wants them to do well, right?
I'm not even really talking about like from a content creator.
Okay, a fan of the game.
I'm just talking about like every single one of my criticisms, like from the past, basically, like since D2's come out, it hasn't been from a content creator's perspective. Woe is me, I can't make content about my game, and I don't have amazing job security anymore. That's my own goddamn problem for focusing everything on one particular game. No, I'm talking about all this shit as a player. I think that's what the majority of us have been doing, is we want to play the game and have fun, and then it keeps not happening.
Well, I know that at the rate that I play the game, I'm enjoying the what is offered, and the content is fun, but it's hard to see the way that Bungie is being handling, or the way that they're dealing with these mistakes, right?
Yeah, and they've got to amp up the pipeline for new stuff. The seasons, you created these seasons. Now you gotta kind of finish the job on the seasons, right? Is every season, from Faction Rally, from Iron Banner, from any other seasonal event, we want new fucking gear. Full stop. We want new armor, and we want new weapons. And I think you've seen that now from Reddit and from your own forums. And now just make it happen. Not one new weapon. We want a full set of new weapons.
Yeah.
We want a full set of new armor. Maybe next season do a full set of new armor, and in season 4 you do the ornaments for that armor. I think that's okay. But like, you kind of set up You set up an expectation for new weapons every season, and with no rerolls available, or no, without having, distinct roles, like I can't just random rolls on weapons. Yeah. Like you have forced yourself into a position where you have to give us brand new weapons, and I understand that's more work, but that's the position you put yourself in, not me.
Honestly, I think that's the biggest thing. The biggest takeaway that's happened so far after watching this unfold is we're approaching month 5 of Destiny 2 being in its life cycle. And when Destiny 2 first came out, I stood behind fixed roles because I thought that something was going to be in place by, say, Curse of Osiris. I thought by Curse of Osiris, they're going to have a solution for my 10th Better Devils. And we're rolling up on month 5, and I don't have any expectations of them having an actual fix or something in place for getting my 10th Better Devils. And if that's the case, then random rolls absolutely were better. 100% a better choice to have in the game as opposed to fixing these rolls. Because if you're not going to replace random rolls with anything else aside from just a fixed roll, then you cut down that content by like 90% gets thrown out from the drops. You're like, as soon as you get that one Better Devils, you are done. You are never interested in getting another Better Devils. And that's what's happening with all the gear now. You are not interested in any gear that you're getting unless it's maybe a masterwork. But even then, once you get your stuff that's already masterwork, you're at the same point again. So without random rolls, that hunt is gone. And if they're not going to put something in the game, if it's going to take them a whole year to put something in the game to make fixed rolls matter when you get extra, your 9th or 10th, then that's just bad. Like they should have kept random rolls in the game.
This is something they should have been thinking about when they decided to make that switch, though. And like, I remember having this conversation when we first learned of the random rolls, and it was a debate on this show. Mm-hmm. But I think nobody had the understanding that they'd give us random rolls or fixed rolls, and then we'd be just stuck with the same weapons for forever.
Exactly.
Right? Like that. No, they wouldn't do that because that'd be stupid.
Right?
There must have been a plan in place.
Yeah, we thought there was a plan. We thought that, hey, we're going to have these fixed rolls because either A, there's going to be an insane amount of weapons, or B, there's going to be some sort of system in place that maybe not be there on day 1 vanilla, but Curse of Osiris shows up that you can then do some things and transform them and so on and so forth, and it makes sense when you want to get another Better Devils. But it's almost month 5, and there is nothing in place, and I don't think anything's coming in place to fix that void that random rolls had.
Yes, it kind of feels like they're fumbling, and they're just trying to get back on their feet, and they're always in a state of reacting instead of being proactive.
Exactly.
Tefty, you don't feel that the mod system and the Masterworks changes that they're proposing are going to give us that versatility based on what they've said?
Mod 2.0 has like a glimmer of hope to being something that becomes an interesting chase. But
here we only have one sentence on what Mod 2.0 actually could be.
Exactly, Pat. So 100%. Yeah. So
what you're saying is that you don't feel like there's been enough information given as to what they Mod 2.0 would be.
I feel like there's not enough loot in this game because every single piece of gear I get at this point, I've already seen and will never be different or interesting to me again because I know exactly what it is. As soon as
Masterworks is interesting right now, but it's going to very quickly not be interesting because within a month from now, probably less for players who play all the time, they'll have all the weapons they give a shit about Masterwork, and they'll never look at it again. Like they'll never think about Masterwork again.
Well, I think that it's important to note that they haven't given us much information on the Masterworks, and we could potentially be seeing changes based on what they're saying in the THWAB. Is that that there are going to be significant changes to our power, right?
Right.
The exact
mods, right?
Yeah.
The mods.
For mods, the exact quote is Josh Hamrick is talking about Sandbox stuff here, and he says, also Grant McKay has put together a really exciting plan for Mods 2.0 that will open their requirements up significantly, allowing them to be more potent in ways that you'll end up feeling directly in your ability uptime and therefore total power output.
So I read that as it being Mods 2.0 is going to be abilities limited. Or abilities really based.
I feel like you could go anywhere you want with this sentence, right? It's so open-ended. The first half of the sentence where they say that will open their requirements up significantly. What the hell does that mean? The requirements for what?
After like reading and thinking about it, opening up the requirements for a mod's power level, like open up the requirements, because like right now the requirements for a mod could be that it can't have a huge impact on a character's stats. Well, if they allow those requirements to go up, like it's design speak basically. So
Okay.
we have these requirements for what a mod can be. Okay, now we are allowing those requirements to be even higher. I believe that's what it's talking about, but it is a little bit confusing.
So you'll end up feeling directly in your ability uptime, therefore total power output. So they're just going to be. I mean, that sentence tells me that they're going to be the same mods we have now, just more powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that that's not the case. I'm hoping that they haven't limited themselves, because when I read that, I'm reading something that limits to the abilities, and we were hoping that these mods would be more like the D1 artifacts, right?
D1 artifacts, like maybe make
changes of the gameplay, right?
Sure,
to make
maybe allow weapons to basically like be like adding another perk, because right now one of the big crucial things in the sandbox is if weapons only have one perk on them, it's not interesting.
I would love perk mods. I would love that. I mean, that's actually,
what
to be honest, what I expected out of the mod system when they first started talking about it. Is I would love, like Tefty was saying last week, I would love to get Firefly on my Midnight Q. I would love to get explosive rounds on my Midnight Q.
If we
that would
see
be
a
amazing.
Plus, remember Tefty last week, you said if we see a plus 10, like
plus 10 damage.
plus 10
I'm
damage.
gonna be so smoked over that. If it's plus 10, plus 20, I'm gonna be like, are you kidding me? This is not a mod. This is like
No.
This is just a number that I don't care about at that point. Like it's got to be something that is significant for the weapons. It's got to change the way the weapons feel. I need to have to hunt a legendary or an exotic mod to put into my Midnight Coup. That has to exist.
They also need to change the way mods are awarded to you. They need to change the way you get mods. Like, it's so fucking boring. The way it happens is you go to the gunsmith. If he's not selling that specific mod, then you have to just basically RNG roll your way until you get it, until you run out of mod components, and then you save up some more, and then you go do it again. It's boring. It's put mods out there. Make a specific mod, a strike specific loot drop. Make a mod a adventure specific loot drop.
Make them look like a
nobody.
How many adventures have you guys done this week?
None.
I mean, Curse of Osiris was the last time I was actually interested in doing an adventure, and then it was done.
Mekki?
Yeah,
I haven't done them in weeks.
All right. They're fun. They're fun, and I think they're some of the most compelling, like, they're fun, interesting, short snippets of story that you can go in and can do something. And they're the mods, or the not the mods, but the challenges within them. The
just gameplay.
No. They put different modifications to modifiers.
Oh, like the Mercury ones.
Right. So they're all over. All of them are. There's different ones. Go back and play the adventures. The modifiers on them are fun and interesting, and they're different, and they changed. And if you guys haven't played them, go back and play them, because there should be something.
Just on Mercury, though, right?
No, I think in other places on no.
Well, you're talking about
like go to EDZ and do a mod.
There's no heroic ventures there.
Yeah.
You have to specifically start up a heroic adventure to get those modifiers. That's what bummed me out.
I played it last week, and I thought that it was across the board. It's not, is it?
No, because you have to go to Brother Vance, who's already a downer. So A, I don't want to go to Brother Vance, and B, if I want to play that heroic adventure, I have to go through him. So no thanks.
The thing about Brother Vance is you can actually get the interceptor and just drive it in.
Oh yeah,
that's a great idea.
Leave that parked on his face.
I didn't know that.
I didn't do that.
Just go inside.
I know what I'm doing next time I'm streaming Destiny 2.
No, you know what we need. No,
my point of the whole thing is that I'm sorry, Patrick, but my point of the whole thing was that adventures would be a great opportunity to have mods earned through those.
Yeah,
right. That's what I just said.
I know, but I'm saying it in my.
You know
own
what
way.
I want, Pope? Though I also don't. I don't want to see it drop as like a little triangle or an engram or something like that. If it looked like a mod on the ground, this would be another thing that adds that visceral feel of, ooh, what's that mod that I got? Because if they're not going to give us random rolls, so the loot is not the same anymore from how it was at D1, then they're going to have to give that feeling that you get with these mods. If they're going to bet hard on mods, they're going to have to give us that feeling of when it drops out of a chest or something, that you see the mod drop, and it's like a legendary. Oh, I want to pick that up and see what it is. You got to get excited about it. Because if it's not exciting, if it is plus 15 attack on your scout rifle, then it is going to be one glance and then out of mind for most people.
I would also like to say that I've never actually ran any of the adventures in the game. Aside from like the first day or two of the expansion or of the game being out, and then when it was required of me in Curse of Osiris, because I don't know, I never felt a draw to them.
They're good for story. Like, you get a lot of story out of them. You get a lot of what used to be in the Grimoire is now in the adventures. Yeah, but there's no reason to run them other than that. They're like, there's no reward system for doing it.
Yeah, unless you were leveling up your character. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I ran it to get like immediate talent points for my for your characters. That was good. And then on occasion there's like one that you can run that was like you could get like a submachine gun that was the same thing as Antiope.
Yeah,
Sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another reason. So it's like rewards weren't enough there for me to actually felt drawn to them. So maybe that's one of the.
I think that's,
I don't know.
That's
this
the
game,
core thing, honestly.
This game has like its content is spread out. It's got a ton of content that you can do, but the reasons to do it are just so sparse. You know, like you look at the legendary raid. Is anybody running when did they last time anybody ran the legendary raid?
The Prestige?
Yeah.
Last time was, I think, with was it with you guys?
Probably.
That's the last time I ran it.
I have no desire to do the Prestige raid ever. It doesn't drop weapons, and I don't care about the ornaments.
So I run the raid multiple times per week, every raid with Dado. And in Destiny 1, we would always do heroic. We would always do challenge modes, just every time, because it was both rewarding and then, it provided a good level of challenge. But Prestige, we don't run it. We don't run it. We do it normally. And then we will go back and open the first door to get shaders.
To get the shaders.
That's seriously what we do. That's what we do.
Like
that is our Prestige content. And
every weapon needs it.
Yeah. It's a good shader, so we're going to go back in there and do that, especially when you're going to front end your Prestige content with the actual reward for Prestige. Cool, great.
The weapons do it really good with the shader.
I hope the raid layer, they got something in store reward wise for the Prestige mode on that. Are they doing a Prestige mode on that?
I thought so.
I believe they are doing a Prestige mode, but I don't believe there's going to be any mechanic changes.
Just gonna be harder enemies.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a nightmare.
Got to put that midnight coup to use.
Yeah.
Devour
So if you think
Warlock
about
in the
the way
coup? Oh man,
I do have one. It's a
So
masterwork.
the way the token system is at the moment. So at the moment, you've got every time you want to get something in the game, you're going to go through a token system essentially. So how would you change the game to incorporate those rewards as part of activities? So as you said, there's loads of activities to do, but there's no reason to do it. So what if because kind of like the same way in Vault Glass, you'd run it in Destiny 1 because you'd see the actual weapons drop by each encounter.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that they would put that back in Destiny 2 so that instead of you having to go back to Benedict to actually get to turn in the tokens, if they were as part of the encounters, what do you think about that?
So for the raid, that actually does still happen. In certain encounters in the raid, you do only get, like, say, the rocket launcher. The Midnight Coup and Lona's God only drops from Callus, that type of thing.
Okay.
It's it just, for some reason, the loot in the game right now got watered down. And that's why it doesn't feel special. That's why people don't get excited over the things that drop in the raid as much, unless it's a midnight coup at the end. But Briar has talked about this many times. Like all the Eververse stuff just needs to get dispersed into adventures and lost sectors and be rewarded throughout the game. A particular strike should award a particular set of ghosts and sparrow and all that stuff.
Yeah, just I suppose it's the notion of the token just seems really just drab.
Yeah,
just really cheap.
It was supposed to be a rubber band mechanic, so if your RNG was really that bad, at least you had tokens to get stuff back. But it became the focus, and that's boring.
Yeah, that's too much. Yeah.
And also, a token system works best when you can just turn in the tokens for the thing that you want, not then once again spin the wheel to see what you get.
I like the way the tokens working for the faction rally. To be honest with you.
When it has like you can spin that wheel a little bit, and then you can also build it up.
The wheel fucked you. And so sorry to hear that. Here's
the thing: you can buy it.
It's quite good.
Unless
the way
it's
they
a dire
changed
promise,
it,
then fuck you.
How the ornaments are essentially linked to bounties now, which is really, really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really, really good change. I think if they just keep going in that direction where you get something based on an activity, I think that's a winner.
It would be really cool if those ornaments, I feel like I would have more drive if there was a thing that I could always look at where I didn't have to go to each vendor to see what the requirements are. If I had a book of sorts to look at.
Wait.
Possibly.
A book?
Even if
this sounds
in your UI,
like
in your menu,
completely new information that I've never heard about.
Yes. Like I want to open up a book and be like,
wait, you want it to be printed in front of you?
On-demand press?
Sure.
Wait,
wow.
Yeah.
From a video game?
I'm role playing Pope. This is my character right now.
Sorry.
Damn it.
Role playing.
For those listening to the audio version, I have a giant book of magic cards, which I am using to whatever.
No way.
Can we start taking like a 5-minute break when Holt starts talking about magic?
I'm not talking about it. I'm using it as a visual aid.
Sort of glaze over, and
point
I start
is,
thinking about
we need a record book to keep track of this stuff.
Yeah.
That's honestly exactly what I thought about when I saw the ornaments, and then I was out in the field and I was like, oh wait, what else do I need? And then I realized I have to go back to the vendor to actually see what I need because I didn't have the armor.
If you have the armor, then you can look at your armor to see your progress.
If you got a full set.
You have to have it.
Yeah, you have to have a full set to see all the progress.
Yeah.
What about the so imagine you had a ghost for each faction, and you pop it up the same way the kill tracker had, and it had the little display, and it had all of your bounties there.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
Cool.
That'd be great.
Little short-term solution.
One thing we didn't mention about the faction rally that I really did like actually is the fact that if you get all the ornaments on one character, you can get them on all 3 characters. So if you pledge New Monarchy on your Hunter and you do all the New Monarchy stuff, you can then bring your Warlock and your Titan to New Monarchy and grab those tokens. So those tokens are now yours. So for instance, in the very next faction rally, if you want to do New Monarchy on your Warlock, you'll already have those ornaments unlocked for yourself.
Yeah.
So you won't have to do that grind again. So I highly recommend if you do finish the grind, or even if you get halfway through it, go unlock those tokens for yourself.
Yeah.
Cool.
That works.
Do you guys want to talk about the rest of the TWAB, the THWAB?
Before we move on, because we are talking about the TWAB, the Josh Hammer post.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the last 2 paragraphs.
Of the Josh Hamrick post or
Josh Hamrick post in the TWAB.
Okay, that's what I was hoping to go
Sandbox.
over that.
Okay.
Because last week we talked about the post by Chris Barrett, and for the most part, I got to say I was pretty enthusiastic about the post with the Patrick. You pointed out the absence of the sandbox. Right? It was hardly mentioned at all, and it's one of the biggest issues for the game right now, especially if you're a Crucible player. So this really, I feel like, could have been an opportunity to say, okay, we realized we missed out informing you last week. Here we are. We're going to make good on that this week, and it doesn't make good on it all, but it does. The last 2 paragraphs of this post feel like he's talking down to us. Like it feels pretty toxic to me. For instance, the last sentence of the second to last paragraph, as usual, we're excited to be working on it and building something that you'll love and that you feels great to play because Sandbox loves you. That doesn't feel like genuine at all to me. Like the whole.
It's you know, when I thought about this, Briar, because originally when I got into the chat, it was like I was pissed off about this. It's the tone of it. Maybe it's the way that we feel about the game right now, but I read the tone as being almost like a tongue-in-cheek response,
felt very disconnected from how we feel right
yeah,
now.
like it's like feigning positivity, I don't know.
Yeah, 2018 is shaping up to be a huge year for all of us, and there's plenty of Sandbox improvements and changes coming your way. As we move closer to realizing all of the new efforts being made, we'll continue to show up here to share many more details. What details? You didn't share any details in the first place.
Also,
about how it's all shaping up and how it will work.
Also, he said it's shaping up.
We expect you to keep showing up and sharing your feedback and passion for the game.
He said 2018 is shaping up to be one of the biggest years. It's like, from our perspective, it's shaping up to be one of the worst years for Destiny in general.
Yeah,
it seems the post seems disconnected, and I know I'm reading it with dark, stormy colored glasses on, and so when I'm reading it, it feels very cheery and upbeat, and I feel like that's the wrong tone to strike when really what we wanted from the Sandbox team was to say, you know, they've up to this point they've said, we hear you, we hear you, we hear you, right? Well, what we really want to hear from the Sandbox team is not their process for fixing the game. That is up to them. What I really want to hear is what they have heard us say and also agree are the pain points, not necessarily how and when they're going to do, but
we don't need specifics.
Give us that you also agree that this is a pain point. You also agree that this is, you know, of all the things that the community has said, what are you pulling and hearing and moving forward with? And it just seems like this is more just generalized, we hear you stuff, and we're working hard for you, and we're working, which I really appreciate, but it's missing the mark. It's tone deaf. It misses the mark, and we need to hear what they think is wrong with the game at this point.
We need acknowledgement.
Need acknowledgement. Like, we hear you, like they've said 1,000 times, on these issues. We also agree that the you know, Crucible needs to be sped up, or that, you know, we need to make more interesting ways of gunfights. And, you know, what are the pain points that you're hearing and are prioritizing? And I just don't feel like Sandbox has really answered that, and definitely not with this post.
The kind of crowning point there is in the third paragraph. The rest of the crew, you ask, oh, they're just hard at work, super excited on new content, but smiles on your faces before the year is out.
We just started.
Josh, I sincerely hope this was written in December. I sincerely hope that this was written in December, because it's January right now, and we don't want to hear about December. We just went through December.
Yeah.
You know, there is only one sentence in this post that has any real significance, that talks about any semblance of goals that we would want to hear about in a post like this. You know, Popey said, we don't want to hear that you're listening. We want you to show that you're listening. We know Bungie has never they just never really talked about, okay, here's how we're going to do a change, but, you know, this may not happen, even though last week in Barrett's update, they said, hey, we're going to start talking about changes, and they may be subject to change, because that's the nature of it. And then, you know, this week we still got basically more of what Bungie has done historically always, and just never said anything concrete until they know it's going to be implemented. We need to know, you're talking about changes that you're doing. What are the goals for the change? So we can at least know as a community that your goals are in the right place, because we've heard the feedback. Right now, we hear you.
Have you ever had somebody who's like super fucking angry at you, and you decide, just to piss them off more, to smile at them and talk in a really pleasant tone?
I worked retail. Exactly. I'm good at that.
And you know that it's going to piss them off more, but you're kind of finding pleasure in that? That's what this post sounds like to me. That's what
and the funny thing is, like Josh Hamrick is an awesome dude and a hardworking guy he's just an awesome dude. And I just wish that it just seems tone deaf, man. And
that wasn't the intent of this post by any means. That was not the intent. But that's the way that it's going to get taken.
It's like somebody posted in chat right now. It's communication 101, right? When somebody's upset, and in this case, the community, about the way that things are going right now in the game, you gotta be able to reiterate back. Look, I understand you're upset. I hear what you're saying. You're upset because this, and this. I also agree that I also see that those are issues, that this, and this. It's part of the way that you accept and, somebody's feelings and their position on a point, and start the pathway towards, being able to communicate and fix the problem, right? And it just feels like when we were asking to hear from the Sandbox team last week, we weren't asking for somebody to just say more of the same. We were looking for somebody to step up and say. We're looking for
communication on the level of what Chris Barrett was providing.
Chris Barrett had so much in just like 2 tweets about the Sandbox. Yeah. About like how, shotgun snipers and whatever, being at that power level that they used to be at, like returning to that stuff. And we're just like,
he acknowledged it.
He acknowledged a current problem. And I'm getting more from that in a single tweet than I did in these paragraphs from Josh. And
yeah, I agree. That was my takeaway when I read it too. I was like, wait, what? This is like, this doesn't sound like somebody who's connected with the community's pains right now. Felt like a subletter to somebody saying, thanks for supporting me.
It's almost like you just like a general form letter.
It's a funny place too, because like literally today we got all this information about Anthem because they had a developer on Reddit, like basically doing an AMA. I mean, we've had the developer for Division doing like weekly live streams. Like people are getting to expect a lot more communication out of this kind of stuff. And when you're trying to build a game as a service and you want people to stick around week to week, like they expect their concerns to be addressed. They at least expect them to be acknowledged.
Yeah.
That's just like the whole gaming industry is kind of stepping up in that way, I feel like, or at least the successful ones are.
I don't know. I like the guys that they have working on this: Grant McKay, John Wisniewski, Josh Hamrick, Chris Barrett. These are some rock star dudes at Bungie that are going to be able to get this done. But it just literally feels like, fuck, man, like.
It goes
give me
to
a break, man.
The two different problems that they have, though, is they got the game problem, right, where the game isn't satisfying people, but they also got this public image problem, and both of those problems are very real, and both of them could cost them dearly. The public image problem, I feel like this post worsens.
Mm-hmm. So, speaking of public image, there was you sent this to me, Briar. There was a job posting.
Oh yeah, there's a posting for a new community manager. Yeah,
I think you do a great job, Briar. You should.
I think I would too. Go for it. Like, is it okay if I still swear though?
What do you guys think that means?
I don't know.
I think Cosmo did reply.
He did
on Reddit about it. He did say that no one's leaving.
So they just wanted to add someone else. Community manager? Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I mean they kind of have to, because they need to let the developers work and not have to be on Twitter all day replying to stuff.
That's true.
I think if in that
Chris
respect,
Barrett's personal community manager.
Jeez, man. Sometimes, man, I really do feel for the developers, like the way that their social media is hammered on and on and on by people, because that's like that. Because people want answers, so they're going to go straight and they're going to keep. Like Cosmo posted a photo of his kid in the comments.
That was ridiculous.
I was like, come on, man. There's a line.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I do think an extra community manager to definitely manage to help like alleviate the pressure at the moment, because they need to let them work, and at the same time,
I think somebody that is also from the community that knows how to communicate, that can be a grassroots communicator through social media, and I like the work that DMG was doing, that Cosmo's doing. It's solid work, but at this point, there's so much needed right now in the community. I could see how another person in the wheelhouse would help.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, maybe they're looking for somebody who can be that bridge that's currently missing, of like that TWAB or THWAB. Sorry, that THWAB is a highlighted experience of the disconnect right now with how the community feels and what went in right there, and maybe they're trying to alleviate that. They get another community manager who's more directly taking the temperature of the community, so they can have a better understanding. So just like Mekki said, the developers, I don't want them browsing Twitter or Reddit constantly when they should be fixing the game. Obviously, you want them to be working and making the game better. So it would make sense have somebody who's going to be more of a thermometer for that.
Oh yeah, it's literally a full-time job to manage that kind of stuff. So yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
They need somebody who could have realized last week that they needed to, in the THWAB, talking about the faction rally, say, hey, these changes, some of them might not be so well.
Do you guys play the game right now?
Or somebody that would hear that would read it and go, no, this is not like, every one of us, when we sat down in this call, and the first things out of our mouth was like, really? That from the THWAB, like that didn't feel like the right communication that was needed. And I feel like that is that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem.
They need somebody to filter that. They honestly
that will stand up in a room and go, no.
That's exactly what they need. They need a community manager who's going to be like, listen, I know you want to say that, but this is how it's going to be responded to.
Yeah. We can say it. You can say that, but then let's massage it a little bit and get more information in there.
No,
I don't know.
I'm definitely curious to know what's going on internally with the director, because I know Chris Barrett is taking over as the game director for the game currently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what Luke Smith is working on and what their long-term goals are.
Didn't Noseworthy tweet out that they were basically working on Destiny 3, or they applied it heavily, that Chris Barrett is definitely in charge of Destiny 2 from this point moving forward?
I believe so. I imagine it's not uncommon for game directors to go, they kind of see a project through and then you've got the next one. So Chris Barrett's for the live team. I'm just hoping that they substantially increase. We got an idea in D1 of what the size of the live team was. And I'm hoping that in D2 that we're seeing the live team significantly increased in size and capabilities.
That'd be nice. Be able to manage significant expansions by themselves while they can make a better D3.
Mm-hmm.
So when do you think we're going to have a Destiny game that's going to have, there's not going to be like an X1, like it's going to be the definitive Destiny game. It's going to have everything.
Yeah. It seems like they want to make sequels.
Yeah, I say never, because I feel like it's going to be a sequel type thing.
The
problem,
it's never going to be a World of Warcraft thing where it's just always expanded.
You can't answer that question for everybody. Everybody wants different things out of Destiny. There's always going to be people complaining about what they wanted. What their favorite part of Destiny 2 is no longer in Destiny 3, because the hardcore, complain too much in Destiny 2, or that, whatever's in Destiny 3, it's not quite as good as what was in Rise of Iron. Everybody likes different things about Destiny because Destiny speaks to so many people, or used to.
I wonder how that would carry over between games, because the whole thing about being Destiny 2 is because, the tower blew up, so we lost all of our stuff. And so that's why they had to fresh new. But how is that going to apply with supposedly the next game? Because if it's not going to be the same game, if it's just going to carry over, if it's not going to do that, it's going to be a whole new everything. It's going to be completely new. No, nothing's going to carry over. So I wonder how that's going to work.
So you can see a development reason for having to do that in Destiny 2, right? It's like you had these year one weapons that clearly Bungie didn't feel like, fit in with how they wanted to develop the game moving forward. You can see that with the Taken King, they were discovering what worked for their vision of Destiny and what didn't. So Destiny 2, it was very easy, even as a player to say, yeah, they're going to get rid of our weapons and our armor because they now have a clearer design goal. They do now have a clearer path moving forward. And certainly there's nothing overpowered in Destiny 2, vanilla Destiny 2, that would make me think they can't move that forward in Destiny 3.
Here's part of my here's part of the worry that I have, and it's not irrational, I think, at this point. If they were working on Destiny 2 during the process of fixing Destiny 1, and the reason why we don't see a lot of the changes that were made in Destiny 1 that made the game better in Destiny 2 is that they were in production cycle. They were already well into the development of it when these changes were made, and that's why we don't see them in Destiny 2. We've heard that argument before, right? Well, does that mean that now we're going to be back to the same damn thing? Are they already working on Destiny 3 to the point where by the time we see the real changes to Destiny 2 and it's fixed, Destiny 3 will look and feel different? And it's like a cyclical, problem, right?
They need to learn from this.
Well, how, dude? So they're fixing it, right? And it's going to take time to fix it. And they're not going to realize what the fix looks like until they're well into the development cycle of D3.
That's a developer's job. I mean, if you're an engineer,
I know, man, but I'm just saying.
If you're an engineer, that is your job. You got to solve those problems. That's not our as a community to solve those problems.
The only way that I see them breaking the loop is if Destiny 3 is not a new standalone sequel, but that continues onto the world that we're in. That's the only way that I see it. An expansion of the story and the universe. Then we keep with it. If they redo it again, that means that they're going to have already started on it when these fixes come into place.
They've
D2.
started on it now.
Yeah, of course they have, man.
I mean, that would make sense because the same way that Taken King came with vanilla Destiny and the first two expansions, Destiny 3 supposedly would come out with Destiny 2's complete content and more. Mm-hmm. So I could see that. Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll see.
I'd prefer them to just stick with Destiny 2 at this point. Develop it, give it a nice 5-year life cycle minimum, so it gets all these nice improvements, and then give it some time before they jump into D3 if they are going to do a new iteration, because it's the timing is the problem, and rushing it out is clearly hurting the community.
I don't know. They could be working on story. They could be working on world building, like building the patrol areas, building maps out, building that kind of stuff. But when it comes to like the systems and how the end game works, they got to put some real fucking thought into that. Mm. If they want to continue it to be what we think it should be, right? I mean, maybe
the reason
maybe their view of how it should be just isn't our view. Maybe those two things are just not copacetic.
They're not compatible. Yeah. Well, I still have hope for it. It's hard to maintain a positive attitude. You see a lot of content creators just leaving and a lot of people in the community leaving. You see clans that were deep Destiny players gone. And I think there's a good portion of the community that's just not doesn't want to be part of this letdown cycle, right? This washing in and washing out. And so they've disconnected themselves from it altogether and are playing other games and plan to come back and try it at a later date because emotionally they don't want to be caught in this washing machine, right? And right. I can totally understand that. I can
is this
really
game bringing you
that.
joy right now? Like,
no.
That's the question I think that people are asking. Like, and if they're answering no, then what's the
I log on and the only thing I will do is I will run raids with Datto because I'm enjoying the group that we can play with there. I will run maybe like 2 hours of strikes because the sad thing is I still really enjoy just the general shooting guns, stuff like that. But I used to fucking love PvP in this game. In D1, I just adored it. I could play it for hours. And then it just it doesn't.
Yeah, the
doesn't
directory of D1 has more people playing it than D2 right now on Twitch.
Like right now, this very second.
I don't know about this very second. I can tell you that there have been times when there was 1,500 people
when Holtz and Datto were raiding in Destiny 1. Was that this week or last week, Holtz?
It was last week. We did the D1 raids.
D1 had a bigger directory.
Just for the record, we didn't do that to try to skew the directory. We just felt like running D1 raids as kind of a throwback thing.
I'm not saying you did.
I know there were some accusations.
Before we went live, the D2 directory had 1,300 people in it. Mm-hmm. Okay, 1,300 people watching D2 content of streamers, and that with the highest streamer count having 300. We have 1,500 people watching this podcast talking about the changes to the game, right? If people can't feel like they can play and bring in viewers and make it interesting, the gameplay interesting, they're not coming back until that happens.
Yeah, there's got to be big changes. They got to make the right decisions. That's for sure. I'm still in the boat though, where like on PC there isn't another game that gives me the experience of Destiny, and I will continue playing Destiny because I actually enjoy it. But if there is a Borderlands 3 that shows up, guaranteed, I'm going to play the crap out of that game. I'm going to destroy it.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I got high hopes for Anthem. I know that I need to temper those hopes. I need to. But, when they got a developer out there on Reddit, kind of talking candidly about the game and saying the right things, in my opinion, I'm really getting excited for that game, no doubt about it. And that is right up my alley. World of Warcraft just announced that their game is going to get a lot more me-friendly in the very near future, and I'm kind of got my eyes on World of Warcraft. Maybe it's time to jump into that for the first time.
If you need a guide, I can gladly help you.
I can tell you that for me personally, there's nothing grabbing me like Fortnite right now.
That's PvP wise. Yeah,
and I'm not a really big PvP player, but it's fun social game. And I went in and I saw Dr. Lupo streaming with
holy shit
with Ninja, and anyway, Ninjas had like 35,000 people watching him, and Dr. Lupo had something like 4,000. That's a Destiny content creator that is moving over to other games. Tefty, you're getting crazy numbers playing on other games. It's fun to see to go out and support these Destiny content creators that are going and playing other games, because I know that as soon as I hate to put it, as soon as the game gets good, I'm really hoping everybody comes back. I'm really genuinely hoping. God, man, I don't know.
They'll do it. It's one of those things you just have to give it a bit of time and let them work through it, because we can't really beat a dead horse and keep going over it. Because there's enough.
What do you think we're doing this every week on this podcast, Faysal? I got I got like a field of corpses of dead horses out there.
Your weekly dead horse.
Themselves.
Have you guys gotten the sparrow from Dead Orbit?
No.
Actually, I did get
pale horse.
I did get that.
The name of the sparrow is a pale horse.
Yeah.
You are insinuating that I would willingly put my time into Dead Orbit. No.
Isn't it the ornaments for Dead Orbit essentially just looks like they've taken the normal thing and just like got a paintbrush and just got
Yep.
The hunter just looks like just that white, just a white brush up right up.
Yeah. Or just had a really bad never mind. So I think that as the game improves, we're going to start seeing people come back. But I don't think we're going to see a significant jump in the numbers until the next content release.
Yeah.
There's got to be significant changes. It's got to be a lot of really good changes that come along to bring people back who have already moved on.
You guys, how do you think this is going to affect Guardian Con?
That's one of our questions in Twitter. I was wondering about that. What do you guys think? To me, like, I don't think it's going to affect it that much this year. I don't think it's going to grow like it
Has been.
maybe we expected it to. Like, if Destiny 2 was the smash hit and amazing, like we all hoped it would be, I would expect it to grow exponentially. I don't expect it to shrink, but I don't expect it to grow like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, like the people who have been organizing it are, they've been showing that, you can't survive on just Destiny, both in streaming and like with content creation, and also with, say, a large property like Guardian Con, where they are wanting to make it into this monumental thing that can do so much good. And if you want to do even more good for the kids, keep bringing it to other places. I mean, just last year during the Guardian Con stream, they brought in Warframe developers and they were streaming for Guardian Con. We keep building it, keep doing that. I mean, hell, if I can sign up for the stream this year, I'll play Magic, which would probably not work out too well.
I think that fundamentally for me, because I thought about this, and
let's get that IGN podcast off there.
Well, I'm looking at buying. I have to buy tickets, and I have to get a hotel, and that's money, right? That's an expenditure, right? And whether or not we're going to get a booth out there as a podcast like we did last year, and so when I started thinking about it, why did I want to participate and be a part of Guardian Con? Was because it was something collectively we were doing as a community that I felt legitimately mattered and was saving lives.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's not about the game anymore.
Guardian Con to me
Con's not about the game.
No. Right. So Guardian Con for me is more about what we're doing collectively as a group of gamers. The only difficulty I see them doing is identifying, getting their identity of who they are, right? And I feel like the only thing that they can do to improve Guardian Con right now is to diversify the streamers that are going to be invited and communities that are being a part of it. Because I can tell you now, I'm there and I'm a part of it because it felt good to be part of something bigger and to raise that money and be part of those streams. So if the Guardian Con question was asked to me, Professor Roman, Gathalion, Kevin asked me, hey, you guys being part of it? The answer is going to be hell yeah. Yeah. We're going to be part of it because we are going to help collectively make a difference. And I'm excited to see other streamers from other content creators from other communities join us.
Yeah. That's Goth, Pro Man, Kevin, they started doing that last year. You could see it in the charity stream before the event, and then you could see it at the event where they had, Warframe there. Didn't they have a Division streamer up on stage for a bit?
Yeah.
And there was a lot of stuff going on that wasn't Destiny related. But ultimately, when I was there, I didn't talk or think about Destiny hardly at all. What I was doing is I was hugging people and putting faces to names and meeting people and just being immersed in the community in a very real way, as opposed to like on a screen or on a microphone or in front of a camera. Like it was amazing. And I can't wait for next year. And even if it becomes a smaller event, I don't give a shit. I'm still going because it was one of the highlights of my life up to this point. And like just being a physical part of that community, it's stunning. I can't wait. Yeah.
Well, we were all spread out all over these other games, and I still consider myself like, as I'm playing other things, I still see other people, and I'm like I identify as a guardian, like as through this game, right? That's the crazy thing about it, is that as I go out and I'm playing other games, I still connect with those people that I have built bonds and friendships with through Destiny, and
even the guys who don't play anymore.
Yeah, man.
When I saw KJ Hovey playing Borderlands 3 the other day, I was like, "Oh, let's go watch KJ Hovey."
3?
Sorry.
Yes. How did he get 3?
What?
fucking
Early
Hobie, that's
access.
Never
Lift
mind.
every table.
Yeah, dude. It's I hope that everybody decides to come back and it's like a big ass reunion where we all laugh and hang out and raise a bunch of money for St. Jude's.
You know, if they
and
don't,
we meet
that's
new
okay
friends,
too.
man.
No,
I know.
I mean, not to Guardian Con in particular, but if people who were part of the Destiny community decide, you know what, like I'm not into Destiny anymore, I'll still always feel like we shared a bond.
Yeah.
You know, and like if KJ Hobie never comes back and plays Destiny 2 or Destiny 3 again, every time I see his stream, I'll be like, hey, it's KJ Hobie. What's he up to now? You know, like there's still a bond there that'll never go away.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Man,
Yeah,
I
the
feel like we're in
community
some sort of
definitely-
counseling session right now, Mekki.
Yeah.
Like we're having some like cathartic like family counseling session, and you know, it's just. But I feel like our community needs that right now.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, it needs a little bit, yeah. Because the thing is, the community is the strongest aspect of the game, I believe.
Yeah.
It's the best thing it's created.
And
one of the hardest things to hear isn't, you know, oh, I'm not having fun with the game. It's, I miss my clan, or I miss the people I used to play with.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing for me to hear, because it happens a lot. Like, just when I'm streaming, it's like, oh, there's no one on. I can't play with anyone anymore. It's like, fuck, man. Like, you can fix, you know, a broken gun, but getting people back to the game to do that's an even more monumental task than fixing a sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we're lucky though in that in recent months is that we've gotten kind of some replacements. You know, Fortnite being one, PUBG being one. We got Monster Hunter coming out. Like these are kind of group activities, group games where you can play with a group of people. That hopefully, even if your group no longer wants to play Destiny with you, hopefully your group wants to play Monster Hunter or Fortnite or PUBG with you. You know, like because I think there is significant there's credence to thinking that part of the reason that there's so few people playing Crucible is because they're all playing Fortnite or PUBG or, you know, other newer experiences. You know, Destiny used to be the new kid on the block. It offered something that like all the kind of rote standard shooters just weren't offering. Call of Duty was in a lull. Battlefield was in a lull. You know, there just wasn't like a really compelling shooter out there. So a lot of people came from different places and kind of settled on Destiny for 3 years. And now Destiny 2 isn't as good as they wanted it to be. But there's a bunch of new shit out there that's really exciting, you know, and people have moved on to those games.
Yeah. It's a good time to be a gamer.
It fucking is.
It's a good time. I wanted to share something with you, and I went back and forth as to whether or not this is, you know, I wanted to share this on the podcast, but I feel like it speaks to, because I got a lot of messages, and I'm sure a ton of content creators are out there getting these. It's like, why are you still talking about and playing Destiny right now? You know, first of all, I still have fun with the game, and I believe it's going to get better, and fundamentally believe it's going to be something that we enjoyed playing. So that's why I'm sticking around. But I also wanted to share with you a message that was sent to me, and I know it's personal, but I'm going to leave the person's name out of it, and I just really want to share with you because it hopefully answers that question for people of why I do this every week. You know, I have a full-time job, but I'll read it. Give me a moment.
Is there a link to any research done by King's College in London?
No. So this is a message sent to me, and he's like, I just wanted to let you know that you and the rest of the Destiny Community Podcast are one of the only reasons I am still alive. I've struggled with depression and anxiety disorders my entire life, and at 3 points in my life have considered suicide as the only option left for me. But every Thursday I sit down at my computer, put you all on, and remember that life is full of wonders and good people. I'm going to school to be a teacher. I would just like to thank you and the rest of the podcast for always being on and giving me something to think about every week, and for the endless laughs you bring me. Thank you.
Wow.
And I opened up my messages, like these kind of testimonials happen to content creators and people that are out in front of the public. And you don't realize the impact that you're having on people until you get a message like that. And that's literally, I do this literally to interact with people in the community and have a meaningful impact. And I can put up with 1,000 people that call me a Bungie shill and, say that I'm this or that or the other thing for that one message. So to that person, I just wanted you to know that meant a lot to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Real, man. It's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
And thing is, we had you get that, but amplified even more things like Guardian Con too, because that was basically what happened a lot there. You talk to people who have these really personal stories from just. It makes it a very real thing when you're sitting here talking. I'm seeing you guys on a 500 by 500 pixel window on Skype, and then Tefty's here and he's actually tall or shorter than Pope. Huh? Interesting. Personal interactions that you never really thought you'd have.
Yeah, see, we don't have Guardian Con in the UK, but we do have the smaller events.
Mm-hmm.
So we've started doing it a lot more. There's a guy called Anubis Gaming who runs these really, really good Destiny events. We've started doing, and it's hopefully we'll get to the size that the US has. Because at some point I need to go over and actually visit you guys and see you at Guardian Con, because it does look incredible.
Hell yeah!
Just the sheer size of the community is amazing.
So
fantastic.
Since Pope's gone, I can say this real quick. Trey Appy in chat had a really really nice point. Yes, Pope may be a shill, but he's our shill.
Our Bungie shill.
He's our Bungie shill. Okay.
He's the shill we deserve.
Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. So anyway, we can probably move on to those Twitter questions now. Yeah.
Oh wait, before we do that,
really?
before we do that,
Yeah.
Mekki, you prepared something.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I did.
Patrick,
Do
can
you
you do me a
wanna- do
favor
you wanna
before
show
I
it?
forget? Give me 1 second, Patrick. Before I forget, in the description of the YouTube channel, please, I want to make sure that we put the suicide hotline number.
Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah, it's important to me.
100%.
Yep, sure thing, dude.
So Mekki, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Do you want to lay a little transition here? Maybe we talk about something else before we talk about this
We
hilarious
can do that
thing
too, yeah.
a lot of people who might know me because of how I use Twitter to troll people.
You son of a
Because-
bitch.
Dirty dog.
What are we talking about here?
Who invited the troll?
So I do so creatively. I make these elaborate posters, movie parody posters. I did one for this podcast. I sent you the link.
You ready to show it?
Do it.
Ready?
Yeah, it said it should be in here.
1 second.
What are we looking at?
Look at the stream. Wait, hold on.
I'm looking at the stream.
It should pop up on the stream.
Already got the actual thing posted here.
All right, so am I going to have to describe this for our audio listeners?
Yeah, I think you should, Pope.
I think so.
All right. Oh my goodness. Okay, so what we're seeing is a Lord of the Rings poster spoof.
This is the Fellowship of the Ring DVD box art, by the way.
Yes, and what you see is a front and center a gorgeous Teft with his full beard and a microphone. Frodo.
Is Frodo a little taller than Tefty? I don't know if that's an accurate.
No, I think that's Frodo's definitely taller than Tefty. And you got a beautiful Briar Rabbit and Patrick. Oh my gosh!
Thank you for putting me as Strider. Aragorn.
Who am I? Like, where did you get that photo? I apparently I have long blonde hair.
Dude, I have a Photoshop folder that has like over 1,000 files of just random crap. I've managed to find something for everyone.
You know when you're walking down the street and you look at a guy and you're like, that dude looks like a pedophile. That's the face that he found a Pope Bear.
See,
I don't know. I see.
Like to judge a book by its cover, but god damn, that guy looks like a pedophile.
Did you guys also see Deej there in the corner?
yeah,
No,
yes,
Deej
Deej
is
is
Gollum?
down
Oh,
there.
shit.
He's down there.
Deej is
doing
Gollum?
you see,
doing the
Deej is essentially now.
At the bottom.
He's like a little Easter egg for every one of these I just put in there somewhere.
We'll have to put a link in the description of the podcast so people can see this this picture. This is hilarious.
That is fantastic.
Apparently, Chad is saying that I'm on there twice.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
are.
Oh,
yeah.
You are both Legolas and Lady Galadriel.
You're the prettiest wood elf there is.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. This is an honor. You know,
That is some amazing work. Honestly, it looks flawless. Beautiful.
Mekki, you do great work, man. I love your they're so relevant. It's funny as hell.
Oh yeah. Watts is on there too as as Amir. By the way, we won't she's not here. She had a migraine, so she's trying to rest. I probably should have said that about an hour ago.
Yes. But the chat took care of it, the mods took care of it. Everybody knew him.
Yeah, my bad.
But those people listening, yes, that's why Watts isn't here.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
One podcasting yet than them all. Yeah, you guys, this is super important to all of us. That's why we get together every week. And the guest portion of this, like where we invite a guest on, it's to celebrate, you know, people that are meaningful and take part in the community and make us laugh and help build that.
No, it's not. It's so Tefty can microphone shame them.
Dropping bombs.
Oh my God, Mekki, man.
Are you using a microphone?
Are you even using a microphone?
Is that a Masterwork microphone?
Wait a second. Is that plugged into your USB port?
How many podcasts you got on that microphone?
You even podcast, bro?
Like, where's your boom mic?
Oh my God.
You have it on your table? Ugh.
I literally
Hey,
have
man.
my mic laying against a pair of Astros. That's how pro
I'm about to get
And
gig
also your
fiber.
keyboard.
This
See, I've got
weekend,
my mic.
this weekend I'm about to get gig fiber, so I will bandwidth
You're moving,
shame.
right?
Yeah, I'm moving literally tomorrow and this weekend actually. And once I get
Got a
gig,
couch at the new place or what?
yeah, this
All
is
right.
couches. Yeah. Once I get gig fiber, I will bandwidth shame you all.
I'm immune to it.
Do you have gig fiber?
I'm not. I'm very sensitive to.
Man, I got
being
like
ashamed.
20 up and four up and like 20 down, dude. Don't even. I don't.
I can't hear Pope. What was he saying about his bandwidth? It's so small.
I can
can't hear it.
I can barely run Skype and like, you know, Twitch at the same time. Don't even at me.
I don't know. The King's College of London says it's perfectly adequate, Pope. So I think you're good.
So this is a good time to talk about what you may be hearing as audio listeners in the future. We are working through upcoming advertisers and deciding on different advertisements. So if you're in the audio portion of the of this podcast, you may cut in and out for a ad read, and that is to help turn the lights on and pay the bills. We have a great audio editor and people that help us with the graphics and promo. So if you guys do us a favor when you hear those ads or you see them, go ahead and click on them and check them out. That helps us out tremendously.
Yes, when you hear them, click on them.
Click on them, read them.
No, you're not allowed to say click on the ads.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're not?
No.
No.
That's
No. It's part of the content, because if you're telling people to click on it, it's trying to inflate possible viewership. It needs to be natural, Pope, like how we used to do those wonderful blue mic ads. Completely natural, never forced.
Yeah, if you feel compelled to click on it because you're
feel
interested
compelled.
in it, then that makes sense. Don't click on it for the sake of clicking on it. That's bad. Don't do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's bad.
Yeah.
This is
Okay,
bad.
I'm sorry. I'm new to this. Don't click on it then.
Yeah. No. If you see something that's advertised and you are interested,
Nick, can we just cut this part out?
Yeah, it's just like,
if we're gonna do an ad, we'll just insert it naturally. We don't have
Yes.
to introduce an ad that we didn't actually do. This whole fucking premise of this is ridiculous. Let's do some Twitter questions.
I think people should
Get
know,
to the
though.
real heart of the matter.
Yes, let's get to the
people should
real.
know,
Get
though.
serious.
People should know
Let's get serious
that you
about
should
Twitter.
not force clicks on any kind of content, regardless if it's YouTube or anything like that. Because
Never ask for clicks.
yeah, never do that.
Never
And don't-
force
You gotta
a click
save
on
that.
anybody.
You gotta save that goodwill for likes and subscribes.
Don't do it for other content
I don't
creators
know, man.
either,
I'm new to this
because
whole
they
thing,
can
man.
get their ad stuff taken away if it looks suspicious. So.
Don't click. Wink, wink. Don't click.
Don't like and subscribe. All right.
Subgut says, saw a report that Eric Hirschberg, Activision CEO, is stepping down in March. Think the Destiny 2 backlash had anything to do with this? And do you think this is a good or bad thing for the game? Did you guys hear about this?
Yeah.
Eric Hirschberg, Activision CEO, stepping down.
I heard about it.
Heard about it. I have no idea about this. Because
we'll find out if this has anything to do with us in like 10 years when like a tell-all book gets written.
Yeah.
This is not the kind of shit that gets talked about publicly. Like, unless he got caught, like in the Me Too thing, or, like, we're not going to hear anything about this.
Yeah.
There's really no way of knowing.
I mean, maybe just the investors had enough with random rolls.
Or maybe
random
like,
loot and just not getting their loot drops, and then just decided to vote him out.
Maybe he's just like, I'm rich enough. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of myself sailing around the world on my yacht with a bunch of strippers. Fuck you, I'm out.
Would you go sailing around the world with a bunch of strippers, Briar?
That doesn't sound like sailing around the world is a really arduous task. I would.
Yeah, man, you'd never make it. Like, you'd be like, up the hoist the sail, and she's like dancing around the pole. You don't. It doesn't.
In my scenario, sailing is really more about laying on the deck of a yacht.
Oh, not actual sailing.
It's about
he's got a crew.
Oh,
he's got a crew.
It's mostly about the seaman.
He's employing people to sail for him.
I get it.
Loosely, the boat can pretty much stay still.
Oh,
maybe they drive the boat to another place, and I'll fly there and I'll meet you there.
This is getting very complicated.
It's my fucking dream. Don't fuck with my dreams. Why you gotta hate my dreams?
It sounds like you haven't thought this dream through very well.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't make it halfway around the world.
It seems like you pulled a TWAB on the. You THWAB. You THWAB this dream up.
You THWAB this one.
Yeah.
Don't you swap my dream, you motherfucker?
You THWAB'd
it. How could you? What an insult.
The USS Mama Bird.
Yeah, Patty. Ships away.
Yeah, ships away.
Boss Fruit says, should the players that are unhappy with Destiny 2 simply let go and move on?
Yes. I say this almost every single stream. If you are not happy with the game, if you are forcing yourself to play and not enjoying it, then why are you playing a game that's supposed to be fun and you're not having fun? Just go do something else. Go play another game. If the game's
not making you happy, you're misspending your time.
Yeah. And you're just making yourself angrier.
Yeah. Come back after the next DLC launches, or when the Taken Queen comes out.
There you go.
Just boot the game back up, or watch a couple YouTubers see what they think about the game.
I'll tell you what you do. You check in. You watch DCP. You listen to DCP every week to see if the game has gotten any better. And when we say on the podcast, come back, then you come back. But until
we're not
then,
saying like, come back, dear God, please. We need the ad revenue. We're saying come back. The game's fucking sweet.
So here's the funny thing: as Destiny's popularity declines, we had our largest listener volume last week. Man, it's going up. We are growing. People come back to us to get connected with the community. That's what's happening.
There was a lot of response about last week's episode in the Twitter questions, and there were questions, so I didn't really include them. But a lot of people were basically saying, like, are you guys going to start talking about other games? Because we like you guys, but fuck Destiny.
And I can only take being negative for an hour and a half almost every single podcast so much before I eventually say, can we please talk about just...
Well, I think next week we should talk about Sea of Thieves.
We're going to.
We see in thieving things.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be good. No, we're integrating other games into our conversation. It's not just purely Destiny, and
episode 69, the one about Seaman.
About pirates.
Nailed it.
Pirates.
Yes.
All about that booty.
Fucking Kismet, man.
That's it.
Nailed it.
It's already fucking named.
It's already written.
Episode 69, Sea of Booty.
Now, Seaman. Seamen.
Patrick is a 14-year-old boy in disguise, right? As a man. So, as we all are.
That's why he still eats 3D Doritos.
Get back to the question. Like Tefty has said, I feel the same way. I still do enjoy playing Destiny 2. There's nothing else that quite provides that fantasy for me. A first-person shooter, I'm really enjoying it on PC, where I collect loot, then I use that loot to kill people in PvP. There's just nothing else out there that's doing that for me. If something else comes along, I'll definitely give it a hard fucking look. But if you're like me, it's okay to be upset about what the decisions they're making, but still play. That's an option too,
Yeah.
Oh my God, True Vanguard's on next week.
Oh, we're gonna get to see the Seaman.
He's gonna be the perfect Seaman.
Okay, you have to request him to get us a sea hat.
Everybody
has to wear.
We all need to wear those captain hats, or something.
I mean, you got the beard, so that's fine. You don't need to do anything else. Just put a hat on and you'll be set.
It's going to be
Perfect.
good.
Pirate hat.
Going to be great.
Lots of booty.
Donald Ennett says, you guys may remember Donald from last week. There's a community manager job posting at Bungie. What do you think is leaving cause? Last thing they need is a fourth community manager. They need new management. Also, I noticed people drinking water out of glasses last week. Baby steps. Donald, stop beer shaming me, man. Stop doing it.
You thought it was water. It was actually straight vodka.
Well,
we've talked about the community manager posting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if it improves communication,
I wanted an opportunity to make fun of Donald again. Blue Knight Zero says, if you could tell Bungie to make one small change that could immediately impact either the game or community in a positive way, what would it be?
Wait. Get that to me again. I want to hear.
If you could tell Bungie to make one small change.
I only get a small
He's
change.
dead inside.
One small change.
Uh-huh.
It's not an easy question.
No.
One change right now.
Yeah.
Random rolls. Just pop off the
That's
lid.
a small change.
Yeah, well, it seemed... Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be that small of a change. To us, it seems like a small change to have a loot pool in there.
Fucking bring back the cast of Firefly and start filming season 2. Let's go with that.
Just a small change.
That'd be a sweet change to make.
A small change. A small change would be. I'm with Tefty. It has to be the variety of loot that we're getting.
I'd say bring back Peregrine Greaves. One hit shoulder charge kills. I'm done. That's it. That's all you need.
You wasted your dream on that. You're the guy that gets the 3 wishes from the genie and then says, I want a sundae, I want root beer, I need to kick people in the face again.
Could you imagine how good that sundae and that root beer would be? It's from a genie. It'd be the best one ever.
I don't care, dude. You don't waste your wishes on Sundays.
Yeah, but
it's all right, Mekki.
Sunday,
I as a Titan, I approve.
When are you gonna ever get that chance again?
I'm sticking with it.
I mean, the changes I want to see them make right now are around making the Crucible more fun, because that's my biggest concern with this
Sandbox.
game right now. Is that, random rolls would be nice. It'd be great to have more of a loot pool, but ultimately, I think PvE is actually in a better place than PvP. And when I get into PvP, I often am getting set up in 3v3 matches. I'm like, that's fucked. What's going on here? Is there really that few people playing?
Okay.
So I just want them to somehow find ways to make PvP more fun.
I got it.
Reduce the time to
You
kill.
already said yours.
I got it. No meme this time. I got it.
Memes
a
are
simple
answers.
change to make it more fun.
Yeah.
Mayhem's permanent.
Yes. Okay.
There you go.
Good. I agree.
Real answer to the question.
Connor says, if you could have an Overwatch Ultimate ability as a super, which one would you choose and for what class? I mean, to me, Hanzo came up right away. I'd love to be able to. I don't know what's Hanzo's super called or his alt called.
To Enter the Dragon or something like that. Something
go fuck yourself.
Is that your best Japanese accent?
Yes.
You want to fuck a giant dragon through?
Yeah.
I
I like that one. That one's super fun.
Formally apologize to all Japanese listeners.
What I would like is, and I know this isn't what the exact answer to the question, but I would like for the hunter class or some of the classes or some variation of this to have the vertical ability, whether it's through running on walls or being accurate in air. I would like them to take the in-air accuracy out of the game, the drop of in-air accuracy out of the game.
It's already.
No, I know. I want you to be able to shoot in midair and go climb and make the game vertical again. That's what I'd like.
Yeah, sounds all right.
Skitch says, your thoughts on the lack of new weapons in FR? We talked about this. I'm going to skip it. Eric Ellett says, when's the last time you received a Bright Dust package from the Eververse? I haven't received one in the last 8 weeks. Did they remove them from the game? You guys got any Bright Dust packages?
I have genuinely not been paying attention.
I don't pay attention either. Like
one or two luminous engrams I get.
Yeah, it would make sense if they took it out if you could dismantle things that give you Bright Dust to balance it out, maybe.
That was that way from the beginning.
Yeah.
It might just be bad RNG. Yeah.
Yeah,
it might be. I will, Eric, I will kind of keep my eye open when I pop those and I'll ask around too. Lowell Young says, so do you guys think it's possible for us to go 1 week without a Category 5 Assault Storm slam this game in this community? Just 1 week.
So I was talking about yesterday on stream. I was like, man, I just want just one day almost where it's not this feeling of just.
It's like the timeline. It's just because when your timeline just gets filled with just Bungie this, Bungie that, it's like, God damn it.
I want a positive news story to come out.
Right? Bungie, go donate like a fucking $1 million to St. Jude's. Just like get yourself in a positive news story, please.
Yeah, I was hoping for to get. I'm actually working on something for an upcoming podcast that would be really awesome to talk about the Bungie Foundation and the amazing work that they do. So, well, I'm hoping to solidify that and maybe make that a reality. But
yeah,
it'd be nice to mark one down on the win column.
Yeah.
Hold
Jack. Yeah. Jack says, do you guys think no matter what Bungie does right now, people are always looking for the bad side and complain instead of appreciate the good stuff? The player base across all 3 platforms is over 1 million in total since January.
Down from?
I don't know.
Recently, it's taken a drop.
It's taken a pretty hard drop, and
so
you feel it.
Here's the thing. It's that snowball analogy I gave earlier. It's at a point right now where it's hard for the good stuff to poke through, and we try to highlight it on the podcast and talk about it. And there are content creators out there that you can go to and that will give you that positive view of the game. But I think it's really hard for a lot of people to see it because there's been so much negative stuff. And
even if you do post a nice video about it on YouTube, your whole fucking comment section is just focused on the bullshit.
Yeah, you say So it's there's a lot of negative right now, and you're right though. It feels that way, that there isn't a whole lot of positive that shines through all that.
I've been playing Faction Rally all week and having fun with Faction Rally. Like I said, I am enjoying the changes they made to Faction Rally, most of them. But, like every 5 minutes, somebody comes in and what the fuck is with the one weapon? What the fuck is with the lockout on tokens? It's like, ignore half of them, but, you got to talk about it sometimes because it just keeps getting asked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Zachary K says, do you think that Bungie would prefer be better off just giving up Destiny 2 after Expansion 2 and focus on making Destiny 3 the game we all want.
No.
No.
No, I don't think so, man.
No.
Why the hell would I want to pay for a game after that then? Like why would I?
Exactly.
Good question.
They cannot let D2 be the way it is and not rectify it if they want to sell anything else in the future.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, it'll still probably sell, but like I can guarantee you a lot of the like kind of hardcore players, the devoted fan base would be like,
hard to imagine right now that Destiny 3 sells as well as Destiny 2.
It's also hard to imagine, even like for a player like myself, that I'm not purchasing the DLCs ahead of time. I mean, right? I mean, how many people in this room are going to, well, it's different, but
group of people.
We're a very specific group of people, but I think there's a large part of the community that wouldn't go ahead and shell out for the legendary or the collector's edition, the version that has all the DLCs prepaid for, right?
If you were to give someone the choice, hey, you can buy this one, and it has everything already in it. It's kind of hard to sell them on that right now. Especially if it's more expensive than just the normal version. But a lot of us here already did buy that because job.
Just look at the game, though, right? Destiny 2 had all the momentum in the world, right? Everybody was excited for Destiny 2. People who didn't like Destiny 1 were excited for Destiny 2. People on PC who never played a Destiny game at all were excited for Destiny 2. Destiny 3 now has to wade through, okay, Destiny 1 was okay, it got better over time. Destiny 2 was okay for the first 2 weeks, and then like they now have to wade through multiple layers of disappointment. There's nobody who hasn't played a Destiny game at this point, right? Like there's no like new player base that Destiny 3 is going to be selling to. I don't see a world where Destiny 3 sells as well as Destiny 2 does, based on the disappointment of the Destiny 2 community.
If they fix things and make it incredible by
that's what I'm saying,
right? Then everybody's going to be sitting there. Okay, we'll see what Destiny 3 is in a month. I'll wait a month after Destiny 3 is released and see.
3 years down the road, Briar. 3 years down the road,
we're not going to remember this.
No, there's horse blinders to like 1 month outside of the timeline.
The second that like hype train drops, everybody's going to be stupid, like excited about it again.
I don't know, man.
There was a lot of problems with Destiny 1. Huge problems with Destiny 1.
It was a different kind of problem. It was a problem. It was game problems, not public relations problems, right? It's like
if they were to
people
bring
are just
out,
mad at fucking Bungie now.
but 3 years with more changes and potentially a good expansion. Let's say if they deliver a Taken King expansion. When I say Taken King, I mean that it really does fix things and make the game better, because that brought in a lot of people from D1 and create a lot of memories. If they are able to do that, then Bungie's viewpoint in the gaming community is going to be different from that point on, in a better version of it. If they fail, then it's even more sinking.
Yep.
I just see people feeling a little more twice bitten about Destiny right now.
But there's a lot of people who haven't played it.
Yeah.
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 They're going to tap into that like perfect formula,
What was it? 5 million PvE players, something like that. 6 million. There's like, it's nowhere near Overwatch numbers. In other words, there's a lot of gamers out there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Zachary K says, "Do you think Bungie would be better off?" I'm sorry, did I just read that one?
I think so. We'll go.
Yeah, I did. Sorry, my bad. I must have scrolled. Solid says, I know community morale is very low right now, and I'm glad you guys are staying optimistic. But I'm just curious what your breaking point would be at this point. Love the show, guys. No matter where this game goes, I'm glad to be part of the community.
What's my breaking point? Oh, man.
If they doubled down on Eververse, made even more loot box, like microtransaction intensive, if they went down that path heavily from where it is already right now, then that would be a breaking point for me.
Yeah, I think more tough there.
I'll know it when I see it. Like that's like a really just general vague answer, but I have no idea what would really cause it, because there's a lot of things that could happen. But whatever it is that would cause that, if it happens, I know it when I'll see it.
Yeah, I'm with Tepti.
Tom Riddle says, considering the state of Destiny 2 and the number of streamers that left the game, would you say that Destiny 2 could become a niche for new streamers trying to grow their channel?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
I mean, forest fires give an opportunity for new plants to grow. I mean,
true.
Yeah,
this is true.
There are people who like this game, right? It's not.
I mean, we like this game.
I like this game. I mean, shit, I play it every day. I mean,
I'd say if you're trying to get into it right now, it's gonna be tough, because there's still a decline that's happening. There has to be this like bottoming out and then a reverberance that happens of where interest is coming back, and that's the hottest time that you could possibly get in on growing.
If Tom is asking, should he start a stream right now? I would say yes. Start now.
Yeah.
Don't wait. Start now.
I wouldn't necessarily base it on the fact of like, okay, you're just gonna stick with Destiny though.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, like there is things to be said about streams that are only focused on one thing and one aspect, but then you do suffer the consequence of the fallout of when it's done. Like look at Minecraft. There's a lot of Minecraft streamers that only streamed Minecraft and then have felt the fallout from the game losing interest now. So try to find a lot of different content that you enjoy streaming and
diversify.
Yeah, exactly. Diversify the content, enjoy it, and then look at your metrics. Don't look at your metrics while you're doing it though, because I can tell you from anybody who does this stuff, if you're constantly looking at numbers while you're making content, then it's going to come through in your content. So don't do that. Have fun with it.
In a few weeks, we have a group, WTF Game Nation, on that is right now playing Destiny every day, and they have stuck it out. And I remember back in the day, they were, 15, 20 people in their watching their channel, the bottom of the directory, all the way down, pushed down by all these big streamers. Today, I saw them, and they were second in the directory. Granted,
they got a cool format too.
They're cool guys, but they're capitalizing on that opportunity. A lot more people are coming in and seeing their channel now that are enjoying Destiny. So, yes, I agree that if you enjoy Destiny and you want to make a name for yourself and be seen by other people, it would be a good time.
Yep. 100%.
Charles B. Davis says, hey, crew. I've never been one for esports, but I've really been impressed by Overwatch League so far. I'd love to see some Destiny, the same for Destiny at some point in the future. Maybe you guys could form a team and finally cash that bungo check as the DCP THWABs. What do you think?
Man, the commentary for that thing is insane.
The Overwatch League has been impressive. Have you guys been watching that at all?
Yes.
A little bit,
The production value of that is it's like watching Sunday Night Football.
Also, the way they set that up with the teams are not named after the owner, like Optic Gaming. They're named after the city, so that you're like connected, like you are a football team or a baseball team, to the city. The way they've integrated the team colors into the game, you can buy essentially jerseys for your characters in game based on teams. Like the way that whole thing is set up is just so fucking ingenious, and the way they're putting on a very slick show. They're getting huge numbers in viewership, and it's a really exciting thing to watch. Like, yeah, it's a cool thing. It's not happening for Destiny though.
No, Destiny's got a long way before it's even remotely considered esports.
I mean, there was a time in D1 where everybody was hopeful for D2 coming out with some things. I think we saw it, and we were all excited about it at GuardianCon last year. We saw the main stage. We saw what it was possible. It was really cool to see. It was what I feel people thought it was within grasp. Yeah. But we went the opposite direction with D2 in many ways.
Isn't that kind of one of the reasons why they wanted to just balance out all the weapon archetypes, is potentially for esports?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Feels like it. We don't know though.
That would make sense, but then they didn't put private matches in.
Yeah, half the decisions were like, let's balance it for esports, and then the other half was like, esports? What?
It's
What's
like
a
they
video
were in the
game?
they were in the middle of a transition and they stopped in the middle. That's
Yeah.
what it
Yeah,
was.
right.
Yeah, it's weird. You know, it's funny thinking about also the D1 scene. It was very vibrant when it came to the PvP for that stuff. You know, we had the tournaments and everything, but
Yeah.
there was a lot of people on the outside looking in saying that's ridiculous. The game's 30 FPS. It's on console. You know, we were saying that it felt close, but honestly, in terms of how Overwatch has taken it and so on and so forth, I don't think it was anywhere near close, because once you start getting out there in public to a broader audience, then the criticisms start coming through
Yeah.
for the fundamentals of the game.
I don't know. You know, with Destiny 2 coming out, and it was coming out on PC, like it did, like it seemed like it could like potentially take that next step.
We'll see.
It didn't. I mean, obviously that wasn't in the cards.
No.
It would have been interesting. I still say that, you know, Destiny with the way that supers work and the way that they could change the momentum of a game,
Be fun to watch.
a very exciting thing to watch. It's a very watchable game.
Yep.
We'll see. You know, it's not out of the question for Destiny 3 or Destiny 4, but I think it's out of the question for Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Agreed.
You.
Fearless Flyer 3 says, if you guys could go anywhere in the world of Destiny in reality, where would you go and why?
Not the Cosmodrome.
The Cosmodrome?
Not the Cosmodrome.
Not the Cosmodrome?
No?
Just, I don't know. There's not many like amazing looking places in the game, like is in like a place that you'd want to go and visit. A lot of the places are very decrepit.
The Last City. One, so I can finally try the spicy ramen.
Okay.
2,
Yep.
so I can finally go to the fucking Last City.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a cool place to visit. I wouldn't know.
I walked through there a little bit. It was kind of hard to look around at that point. My neck was
I
kind of
slowly walked through. I was kind of broken at the
That was
time.
in 3 different places.
The reef. The reef would be good.
Ooh,
Oh, I like that.
that would be cool.
In real life, I would want to go to the. Is it called the Jovian Complex, where they have the archives, the Golden Age archives? It was.
Yeah.
If this is real life and we're talking about it, I would love to find and be able to visit a place where, you know, knowledge is stored from a whole advanced age of human existence and be able to read and learn from that.
Knowing your luck, Pope, you'd find it, but it would be like the fucking meme archive. There's no
Or there'd be no
history.
power. There'd be just like there would be
Every
like,
book
couldn't
here
turn
is
it
written
on.
by Faysal Mekki.
What the hell?
This is amazing. What?
There's like a little shrine for me in the middle, just like, hey.
The Ishtar Collective. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, that place. Yeah, I got to go with Pat. I think I'd go to the city and walk around.
I feel like it's the safest place you could be too.
I'm not looking for safest.
No?
No. But still, like, because this is a fantasy dream of visiting.
Yeah.
You're not worried about getting killed, right?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So don't
Jeff,
worry
do you-
about getting killed.
Do you think they have gluten-free foods in the Last City?
Wow.
It's a fantasy, so even if they didn't, I'd still eat it because it's a fantasy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good point.
Here's a question: how does K drink?
It's pretty simple. You just like,
Just swallows.
Yeah, but like water and rust, the metal.
He doesn't drink water,
it's stainless steel.
and he drinks
Yeah.
Fucking answers for
Oil.
days, man. This is easy.
oil.
Any more?
I'm out.
What else you
Yeah,
got?
keep them at us. Keep coming at us. It's motor
Yeah.
oil, you know. That's what he's doing.
High viscosity.
I can't argue with that logic.
Yeah.
5W30. What's next? If you guys can go. Dumb RNG says, that's a username that I relate to. Favorite Halo game and why? Your favorite Halo game?
Oh man, there's 2 answers to that though.
No.
How
For
can
me,
there
my
be
favorite
answers
Halo-
to your favorite.
My favorite. Well, I have 2 different favorite reasons. My favorite.
My favorite is exclusive.
No, my favorite Halo game is Halo 3 for the gunplay and the game and how and the memories I have from it and really enjoyed it. But Reach, the story captivated me and brought me in like no other Halo game. So
That's a good story.
It was a good story.
Reach is my favorite because I have the most memories with my buddies with Reach.
For me, it's Combat Evolved. I used to bring my Xbox over to my friend's house, play 4-player split screen, and there's nothing like being able to punch the guy who just shot you in the head with a hand cannon from across the map.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. It was revolutionary at the time.
Were you a screen
absolutely
watcher?
Stunning. Fucking
Of
hey,
course
I
he
was.
was. Of course he was.
Of course,
Damn
damn
right.
screen watching. Good
Everyone.
God.
I was.
And he would be the guy that says, "I'm not watching the
I
screen."
wasn't looking at
Ah,
the screen.
I
No,
don't know.
definitely not.
Everyone says they weren't a screen watcher.
Oh no,
They were
I
a
was a
screen
screen watcher.
It's like there's two types of people, like people who screen watch and fucking liars.
That's true. That's true.
Interesting.
I'd say the first one as well. Yeah, I agree with you.
Josh G says it's this week at Bungie, so shouldn't the proper pronunciation be a short sound, such as in cat? TWAB. TWAB.
We already went over this. We went over this.
We have identified the rules.
This Josh C character makes a lot of fucking sense.
We don't need any more rules added to this.
Look, Briar,
Wow.
sewer rat might taste like pumpkin pie, but I'd never know because I'd never try the filthy motherfucker.
Okay, well, put it like that. I'm gonna move on.
Thank you.
Well said.
Aragon 12 says, do you consider expanding DCP to other games? I mean, being people to talk about other games as well.
Sure.
I think we talked about this.
Yeah.
Yes, we have considered it and continue to do so.
We thought about just dropping the Destiny just community podcast, but then that creates even more confusion because Community is a TV show that hadn't been on for quite a while.
I don't
Also,
think there'd be
Destiny
any
has a weird
confusion.
hang up with any games that have an A in the title. It's really fucking hard to get around.
We're a W.
W, yeah.
He seems to have a problem finishing certain things that he starts.
What?
Mm.
I finish
What?
tons of games on stream. I never commit to saying I'm going to finish them, though. So,
Did you finish Witcher?
oh, what's a Witcher?
Which is, dude, it's finish it.
Yeah. You know who's playing that right now? Is T-Rex. I was watching him play it today.
It's such a good game, man. Such a good game.
Botbuster7 says, if Destiny 1 Trials was still active on weekends, would you go back and play them?
Oh yeah.
Not for me.
I played Trials enough in year 3 or in just D1. Played D1 Trials enough.
I really disliked PvP in Destiny 1, the final meta it was in, when it was just all sticky grenades. I really disliked it. I do not think they left that game in a good state. I have no desire to go back and play it. I know that a lot of people are going back, and I'm not saying I'll never go back and play it again, but I don't have any desire to do it right now.
Yeah, I'd love to see that type of elimination type rule set in Destiny.
Yeah, I would too.
Trials of
Yeah,
that.
that'd be nice.
DeWay says, hey guys, do you think Bungie has lost the community's trust for good, or do you think it can be repaired?
It can be repaired.
Yeah.
Yep.
The biggest example is you look at Division. Division really felt like it had passed its time. And now 1.8 came out and revived it heavily.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They just have to show some significant changes and improving their communication.
They got to do a seance. They got to raise the dead. The necromancer. Boom.
Exercise
the demons.
Exercise the demons.
Cameron 56 says, thoughts on swords in Destiny 2? I feel like I'm the only one who likes them in PvE. I can't wait to see what exotic swords we get.
They're great in PvE.
You guys have any thoughts on swords?
Yeah.
I loved swords in D1. I love swords in D2. I love that. I would love to see more variety, like the hunter sword, where you run differently when you're using it. The Titan using the big class-specific sword. I wish that there was more.
I wish that was an axe for some reason. I just think
something an axe would have been dope. But yeah, they just more variety of them and having them be exotic. I really like the idea of the exotic swords from D1. So, yeah, we're Iron Lords, man. Let's get in there.
Young Wolf up
Where's
in
our
here.
sword? Where's our young?
He just calls me Wolf.
What up, young wolf?
What up, Wolf? And then he goes, he's
Tim Murray says, there's been a lot of talk about the dip in PvP player population. I know the current meta is partially to blame, but how much do y'all think it's competing games like PUBG and Fortnite playing in? I feel like Destiny 2's PvP has much stronger competition than Destiny 1 did.
It's true. Yeah.
You answered it. It's like the meta isn't in a good place, so people are going to go play other things.
But honestly, Fortnite and Battle Royale didn't exist when D1 came out.
Yeah.
And
D1
not
came
for
out.
console, anyways.
Yeah, D1 came out when, Call of Duty was having a rough time and Battlefield was having a rough time. D1 came out at just the right time to kind of capture an audience.
Yeah.
And
so it's a combination of both. Obviously, the meta is just very bland right now, and the loot and the type of events in the 4v4, there's all that stuff. But in addition to that, there's a lot of really attractive options to play right now. So it's very easy to siphon off players.
And I think that the competitive, the real hyper competitive PvP players saw that there was no real progression for them in the game and went to other games where they could make a name for themselves. I see a lot of top Destiny PvP players playing Overwatch and Call of Duty because they have known progression systems and rank systems where they can compete and possibly do tournaments and do that kind of thing. So I think that's where the hardcore, community went, where they could get recognition and competitive play.
Yeah.
Marcus House is, I don't want to be negative because I love Destiny, but if we keep going down this road with Destiny, have you guys thought, this is the same question, I'm sorry. Ash Matheson says, if you could put any copyrighted song into Destiny 2, what would it be?
Would there be a corresponding emote with it?
Possibly a music video featuring a hologram?
By a certain bug?
So any song? Any song?
Any song. Thinking I Want You Back by the Jackson 5.
Ooh. Okay.
Also thinking Fat Bottom Girls by Queen.
I was just thinking that. I was literally just thinking that.
Wow.
I was thinking We Are the Champions.
I'm not joking.
Yeah, man. I'd have to say like the corresponding, like I would like to see some like Michael Jackson Thriller, because I would love to have like flash mobs, like when you like Fortnite, when you start your dance, a music plays. So like you could start a flash mob in the tower, and everybody starts doing the whatever.
Do the
Thriller dance.
Takes
Remember when they added a jukebox to Destiny 1's tower? That was so weird.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I do remember that in the bar downstairs. The Zers bar.
This is the end. My only friend, the end. It serves to set you free.
The Mohican 9 says, does knowing you can fit a regular light bulb in your mouth but can't remove it without breaking it make it tempting to try?
See, I saw that question and it gave me an existential crisis. I was there for like an hour, just like.
Wait. So you can put a light bulb in your mouth, but to get it out, you have to break it?
Break it.
Is this like a scientific fact?
I don't know.
It makes sense to me. You can't.
Like for
you know
reason,
what? Here's the problem, Ryan.
Lockjaw?
By informing people of this, it's like the Tide Pod bullshit. Like somebody's gonna try this, even though we're saying you're gonna hurt yourself. You know?
Are you sure I'm gonna hurt myself? My mouth is pretty big. I feel like if I could get it in, I could get it out.
You can't.
Are you sure?
I'll tell you what. Do you want to give it a try live?
No.
Okay,
no, I don't want to try it. I am okay with not having that.
Settle this once and for all, guys.
Yeah, this is not okay. This is how people die. This is how
Death by bulb.
This is how humanity, like evolution, should work, right? We should say yes, try it.
Right? It's called natural selection.
Natural selection. There you go.
Good question, Mohican. I like it. Justin Woodruff says, which do you eat for the rest of your life if you could only pick one? Chocolate or candy? Personally, I'd pick candy because I could easily eat Skittles forever. Well, Justin, I realize that you sent us a trick question. Chocolate is candy.
Yeah.
Why'd you use fucking candy?
I was about to say. You get all of it.
Try to fool us. Huh? No, sir. Ain't happening.
Trying to get us to eat that light bulb.
I ain't eating no light bulb.
Hey, cracking no light bulb in my mouth.
What if
Fooled me
you eat a light
once. Shame on me. No, never mind. I forgot.
I can't talk because I ate a light bulb.
Oh, big talk.
My mouth is lacerations.
Never gonna get fooled again.
Andy Martinez says, is it still okay to have Christmas decorations up?
No.
Coming up on February, it's a little on the late side.
Yeah, Fortnite. Remove those Christmas trees already.
Good point.
It's a little ridiculous by now.
I don't know, man. I feel like you got till at least February.
Well, how much February? Like February 1st or the month of February?
How about the first weekend of February? Sunday evening.
Last
to go
weekend
down
of January.
for New Year's. No, New Year's is the last this goes up.
No. I want the first
that's
week.
outrageous.
First week of January is definitely still enjoy like the holiday, and the Christmas tree feels like a holiday.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unacceptable. If I see somebody
Go
with
eat a light
Christmas
bulb, Pope.
decorations up
It depends
out
on
of their
your
house, I
decorations
take their
too.
house. That's what I
If
do.
you just have like lights up on the outside of the house and they're nice looking, they're not like you can't see them from space.
Garish.
A little longer. But if you got a Christmas tree still up and that shit's turned brown and there's needles all over
You
your
know
damn
what says
house,
to
you need to
me-
get it out of here.
Briar, it says to me that your ass is lazy. And then when you come and want to borrow something from me, I'm going to say no because I'm not going to get it returned.
You see, I get around this entire problem by never putting up Christmas lights or ornaments. Or
Now
mini
who's fucking lazy?
Humbug.
Now who's lazy?
Exactly. I'm so lazy, I don't even want to participate in the process.
I know I don't want to put those
'Cause
away
I
later, so I'm
know-
not going to take it out now.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to want to take the shit down. So why am I going to bother putting it up?
Because it's beautiful,
It puts you in the holiday spirit.
right? It makes us happy.
Yeah.
I want to get a holiday. I'll go to like.
Don't
Target
you
or
like
something.
happiness, Patty? Don't you like happiness?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Oh. Clawless says, do you use read receipts for text messages? Why?
What?
Read receipts. So on your phone, you can set it so it alerts you if somebody has read the text message that you sent.
No.
Use that. Patty obviously does not.
Yeah, no.
Oh, for iMessage? No, I don't use that.
No?
No.
I think I have the
Oh.
option on by default.
It's on. You use it.
I think so.
And it's on because default.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was an option, and I've had no interest in doing it.
I have it on because I have kids. And I know that they're not going to respond to my text message, but I would like to know if they got the message.
That's a good point.
Both on because kids.
There you go.
Anodyne says, when is the next podcast showdown?
I don't know. Bungie.
There's
when are
no
private matches
challengers
coming?
right now. You know,
Yeah,
there's
we
just
need
nobody
private
that's.
You know, I've heard of this scrappy little startup. Now they're kind of assholes, but they go by the name Revolver, and they've been talking some mad shit lately.
Oh, about DCV? All right.
Some mad shit. Now these guys are real assholes. I don't know if you want to associate with them.
Isn't Wilson on Revolver?
So toxic.
I
So
am,
super
toxic.
not, I am not
toxic.
playing against
Also,
Wilson.
I heard he's got like a basic bitch midnight coup.
Wow. that was
well,
fun,
you know-
Jesse. Like you had to make it real.
It's like
Damn.
it's like your midnight coup is a lot like you know how people say dogs kind of mimic their owner. That's kind of what like your midnight coup is kind of like that.
My midnight coup has a beard.
Yeah, kind of. You know,
It
it's
eats
kind of
its own
cool like
poop.
that.
And
My midnight coup has got almost 10,000 kills on it.
That's what I'm saying.
Almost.
Wilson's is sort of a basic bitch. I'm not calling him out or anything. I'm just saying sometimes it's just
Clip it. Clip it.
Calling him out or anything? Just calling him out. This is how Rezo members treat each other.
yes, we do. We do.
All right, that's it for Twitter questions. It was fun.
Nice.
Fun.
Wonderful.
Wait,
Next week, I got a request. Next week, send in more funny ones. We like the funny ones.
Funny ones.
Send in more of the funny ones. We've spent the whole podcast talking about how shitty Destiny is. Let's stop talking about that in the Twitter questions. Talk about how funny stuff is. More light bulbs in mouth questions, please.
I will give you a heads up. Next week, it's the 69th episode, and we have True Vanguard on. Start thinking of your questions now.
And Sea of Thieves beta comes out next week.
And Sea of Thieves.
We have got to have some. Yeah, that's cannon fodder right there. That's
Cannon
material.
fodder,
Good.
literally.
Good.
Oh my
When
god.
does that beta exactly happen? It's on the 20th, so it's in 2 days from now.
Wednesday starts Wednesday, I believe, right?
24th, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so are we going to play it together on Wednesday?
Supposedly.
Yeah, we're supposed
I
to.
cannot. I am
Ross is supposed to be in charge of this.
working.
Briar,
Not here.
one
What
quick question. Big Long Pickle in chat said you skipped his question, and it was about my Magic the Gathering deck.
I don't know what you're talking about. There was no question in there.
He
I
definitely did
Uh,
not get that question. Confirmed.
Magic. What now?
There was
Never
no
mind.
questions.
You
about
have to
Magic
have
the Gathering.
this big of a midnight coup to ride this ride.
Mhm.
Do you see how thick this folder is, Tefty? You see how thick this
Pretty
folder
thin
is?
to
This
me
is
right now.
no,
About
it's
5 inches thick, I'd say
half
it's
of it's
below
in
average.
the other two decks. Fine. It's getting used. Do I need to?
I think
Did I
that's
double fist the folders? Do I just be like, yeah? Look, see, there's 2 folders now. Is this better?
No, Patrick. It's not. You can't just add another finger and make it be okay.
Okay. Well, thank you all for tuning in to the 68th episode of the Destiny Community Podcast. If you want to find more of me, I'm at Holtzmann_YT, where I will definitely be talking about Magic a lot because I'm going to be training to go to GP Seattle, and I'm going to dominate that tournament. It's going to be great. It's coming up in April. I'm just going to going hard for that.
I'm gonna make you a custom poster.
Oh hell yeah!
Just for that.
beautiful.
Oh yeah!
Could you make it? Can you take Mrs. Doubtfire poster and put Pat into it?
Yes, please.
Dude, that's it. I'm done. I'm doing it.
Mrs. Doubtfire,
gonna
Mama Bird Patty, and magic cards.
I'm gonna make it
This is gonna be
print size so
beautiful.
that you can get it.
What's the relationship
It
here?
doesn't matter. Just
It
go
doesn't-
with it.
There is a relationship.
It's art, Patrick.
You
wouldn't understand.
If you need to ask what significant is, what art is significant, then you just don't get it. Okay.
I think I'm the only motherfucker here with an actual art degree too.
Look, art isn't here, man. It's not some credential you get. It's not some degree you go to school for. It's either in here or it isn't.
Yeah, you don't even get like A's, B's, or C's. You get like pass.
Yeah.
What you're describing
Yeah.
is called outsider art, where someone who's never discovered or really studied or
I'm Briar
seen.
Rabbit. You can find me on Twitter at the Briar Rabbit. You can find me on YouTube occasionally, on occasion, what if I got something to say, or streaming every day over on Twitch. Just look up Briar Rabbit, or hanging out with my real friends apparently over on the Revolver Podcast every Sunday night on Twitch.
I'm Tefty Teft. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter. You can catch my streams, twitch.tv/Tefty Teft, 6 p.m. Pacific start time. And I have a YouTube channel as well. I will be in the process of moving this week. So if you do tune in regularly, I will not be live this weekend because I will be going to the holy land of gigabit fiber optic internet, which I'm very excited about. But it's going to take a couple days to get that going, which starts for me tomorrow, Friday. Immediately after this podcast.
It's because the gigabit.
That was number one priority. I was like, if it doesn't have gigabit, it's literally not possible to move here.
I've told my wife that if we move, and we are moving, gigabit internet is like
First
required.
checklist.
Yeah, it's not like an
It's like-
option. Oh, it's a beautiful house and it's half price, but it's got Comcast. Fuck that. We're not moving there.
This
Plug
place
and
has
fold.
gigabit. This place has gigabit, but it was also the site of at least 15 gruesome murders by it seemed to be a returning serial killer. Would you still like it?
Oh, we can get by.
Sounds
I know
good.
where the Logan's gun shop is.
Can I get bars on the window? You're up next, Mekki.
I got to look at how to build those Fortnite traps also.
So
yeah.
I am Faysal Mekki. I'm on Twitter at F_Mekki. So if you want to come and see some cool art or just some funny memes, come say hi. And thanks for having me on as well to the podcast. It was an honor.
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Definitely
Thank you.
check out that Mekki and all of the artists at Destiny Community Artists. And so what's their Twitter?
So it's at DestinyComArt.
It's just like our Twitter. Instead of pod, it's art. So, and this has been Pope Bear. You can follow me on Twitter at Pope Bear. And make sure you follow the podcast at DestinyComPod. And if you're listening to this on iTunes, drop a rating in there, a like. It really helps us out. And make sure you go through and check out the YouTube channel. We've got everything you can possibly think of now to listen to the podcast. If you will, Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, anywhere Google Play, anywhere you can listen to the podcast. Where you want to listen to it, we've got it for you. So next week we have True Vanguard. Make sure you check it out. We're really excited about it. And thanks again for watching.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
All right.